Welcome back to Creepcast. Today we are reading a viewer recommended story. Someone on our Patreon actually recommended this. A person that goes by the name of Caldwell Fitzgerald recommended the story, The Ocean is Much Deeper Than We Thought. Have we done an actual ocean? Have we done like an ocean?
We did the SCP-3000.
Oh, that's what it was. I was wondering which one. Yeah, it's been a while. We'll have to do another SCP one. It's been a while since we've done an SCP thing too. Yeah, SCP-3000 was just was an ocean one, but I think this is our actual first like narrative story where we get some fun deep ocean horror, which is what I'm stoked on. I love, as you know, I love H.P. Lovecraft, weird fish people monster thing. Wouldn't be upset if this skewed into a Lovecraftian territory.
There you go. So the timer on that, 1 minute, that's 72 seconds.
Record
72
breaker.
seconds in the episode. There we go. Excellent. So yes, this story is written by Richard Saxon. Richard Saxon seems pretty prolific. I'm not seeing any links to like a book for sale or anything, but he writes online a ton. His last story on No Sleep was in November. He has a Wattpad story called The Crimson Nexus that seems pretty intensive. This guy writes a bunch, and the story comes highly recommended. So if you enjoy, we'll have his links in the description. Thank you very much, Richard, for making this story and writing cool stuff. As I think I've talked about it on the show before, but as a kid, I was like petrified of the ocean. Like I would have nightmares about it. I used to have this weird nightmare where I'd be on top of a cliff overlooking the ocean, and I would just be flung out into it like hundreds of miles into the middle of nowhere and just treading water. I was always afraid of like giant monsters beneath us. So this is right up my alley.
I don't even like swimming in lakes. Albeit the ocean, I'm horrified to swim in the ocean. I don't like the idea of something underneath me looking at me. You know, which is silly to think, but I picture like just something down there, just looking at my tootsies as I kick back and forth, my fat thighs rubbing together in the water as I'm kicking, trying to keep myself afloat. I don't like it. All right. Even like the thought of a fish grazing my leg. I don't like that.
I was fine with stuff being down there. I wasn't fine with things that were so big I couldn't really wrap my mind around it, you know? Like,
yeah, I see videos of like people in like Washington, and they're like on kayaks, and like a fucking whale pops up and does like, ew. It would freak me the fuck out, dude. I would lose my shit. Be unbelievable.
Now here's my question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about water snakes?
I simply cannot tell you enough that snakes are my actual biggest fear.
What did that? So I thought he was joking until he came to my house, and I have a little pet Kenyan sand boa. He's like that big. He's a very small little guy. Hunter would not go to that side of the house.
No,
I'm like, oh, you're not kidding, are you?
No, traumatic. I mean, to the point to where, like, I've even told this is ridiculous, but because, you know, people like to pull pranks and stuff like that, like, you know, whatever. I told all the people that work in my studio, I said, if any of you, I'm not even joking, if any of you bring in a fucking snake, you're fired. I'm not even, like, that's not even me joking. Like, I was like, I will never recover.
I slid the passing mention to Hunter about during tour, what if I had like a rubber snake? Or like a fake steak, and he said he would end the show.
I would end it.
Creepcast would be over if I would end it.
It would be it would be a level of betrayal that I would never be able to trust you again. That's how it has to be. And
did something happen? Do you have like a traumatic story of the snake?
I don't think I even have like a snake. You know what? The only pivotal thing that I can think of, actually,
what?
Because it has been an irrational fear, but I just don't. It triggers something deep inside of me.
They have no limbs. They can barely do anything.
Well, that adds to the factor though of like that's magic. Like it's a devilish kind of magic of like you have no legs or arms.
It shouldn't be able to move.
I'm like, how are you coming at me? But there was one very traumatic snake moment in my life that I do like. I don't know if it's the root cause, but I will say it was horrible. And it was that back in the day, when I was very like young, maybe when I was like, I don't know, 18, 19, it's whenever the movie Anaconda came out. Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
So I was at my house watching it alone. Well, like my mom was in the other room, but it was like you had like a little tube TV in my mom's room.
Yeah.
And I was watching it in there. And it was that part whenever he is wrapping himself around that guy in the river and he's like getting ready to eat his head. I was so horrified.
Oh,
and then the power to my house went out and it was like pitch black in the room. And I just screamed and I like dead sprinted down the hall. And I was like, Mom! And I don't know why, but ever since then, like, I think I had a fear of snakes before that, but that was like a horrible thing that's stuck with me to where even when I watch Anaconda today, which is an awesome movie, it's like so cheesy.
It's a great movie,
but it does unnerve me. Like it fucks me up big time. But like, stuff like snakes on a plane, it's stupid. But Anaconda, I think that
wouldn't snakes on a plane still freak you out because you see snakes?
Yeah, but it's so dumb that it's just like, it's not like when I'm watching Indiana Jones or something in the snake pit. I'm like, oh my, like
do they freak you out if you see them like in pictures or videos?
No.
Okay,
no.
It's just in person.
Yeah. Like I went on a date with my wife. Went on a date with my wife when we were younger as well, and we went to the zoo. And she was like, because they have like the little reptile room or like
the reptile house.
Yeah. And I just like wouldn't go in. And like, it was just a very uncomfortable thing. She's like, are you really not going to come in
She told me
here?
about that.
Yeah.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Very, very embarrassing. And I was like, I think I saw pandas over this way. She's like, you definitely didn't see pandas. I'm like, I think I did. I think I'm going to go try to find those pandas. And I was trying to play it off cool, but I was like, borderline hyperventilating, like, because also you're trying to impress this girl, and I'm like, God, I hope I get a kiss later or something like that. Whatever.
Wow, I hope she likes me.
Yeah, I hope she likes me.
Meanwhile.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no. The ocean river snakes, since you brought that up, I don't like them. But even like eels creep me out. Eels are also just ugly.
So anything that's limbless bothers you?
I think so, except I don't mind worms. I feel bad for worms.
Interesting. See, I'm the other end of the spectrum. Like, I don't like spiders. I don't like centipedes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Spiders will bother me, though. Like, if I see a picture of a golden orb weaver or something at the right time, it will, like, bother me. But it's weird. Like, growing up in Tennessee, we had those garden spiders everywhere. Mm-hmm. And, like, they would freak me out if I was too close to them, but I didn't mind seeing them that bad. But it's weird. It's like I don't think about spiders that much. I can normally look at pictures. I follow a bunch of accounts on Instagram that have like pet tarantulas they feed. But I will weirdly have like nightmares about them.
No.
Sporadically, where I wake up and can like feel them touching me and stuff, but they don't bother me when I'm awake. It's odd.
Yeah. No, the only thing with spiders is like I deal with the spiders in the household, whatever. But anytime someone says spiders or I see a spider, I immediately think like I feel crawling on my legs. Which that could also just be, me having a heart attack or diabetes or something like that. But I do feel it's like that sensation. You know what I mean? It's like a phantom text or something from your phone. Where you're like, did I get a message? It's that. So I feel like little legs crawling on my arms or back and legs and stuff like that. So, but
I understand that.
We're here to read a story, and the story is the ocean is much deeper than we thought. Isaiah, are you ready?
I'm ready. Once again, thank you, Richard Saxon. Thank you to everyone supporting us on audio platforms, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It means a lot. Continue to show love there. And thank you so much to everyone who is donating over on Patreon to fund our silly little projects. It really does mean the world. Thank you guys for the support. Really.
Yeah. Also, we did, I got to put Isaiah through like a D&D style breakdown. Yes. It was basically a role-playing thing, as if he was in the Stand By Me book and he found a dead body in the woods. And I'm curious that goes out tomorrow, which I guess by this point it'll have already come out. But I'm very curious to see how people react to your role play there. So, all right.
The ocean is much deeper than we thought.
They told me you were experienced in harsh waters,
James said as he pointed out the pearls of sweat that had formed on my forehead.
Yeah, I do.
I replied, moments before hurling the remnants of a less than appetizing lunch off the side of our ship.
It's just that you look a bit green around the gills.
He continued with a smirk. We just met a few hours ago. I'd been airlifted to USS Orion, a sea lift handling abyssal transport capsules for a classified project conducted by the U.S. Navy.
I guess they failed to mention that I'm much better underwater in submarines.
Considering the circumstances, his casual demeanor left an uncomfortable atmosphere among the workers. They all knew what my visit entailed, but just like myself, they were scant with information. All I knew was that there might be a contagious infection at the bottom of the ocean, and my job was either to disprove it or to confine the entire crew aboard the station. As soon as we were positioned securely on top of the Tonga Trench, we were rushed into the transport capsule, a minuscule vertical submarine designed simply to take us to the base on the ocean floor, 20,000 feet below us. Talos. Where's the Tonga Trench at?
Also, so it's saying that it's basically just so vertical as in it's just like basically a floating, just a diving pencil that's just meant to go straight down. It's not like a fancy, every time I hear submarine, I think of like the old like Hunt for Red October you know what I mean? Submarine.
Like a nuclear submarine
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Like a war submarine. But this is one that's just literally like a fucking, I don't know, that Pokemon that's just a pod. Just that floating all the way down to the ocean.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, it's just transport to what I assume is a base down there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the base on the ocean floor, Talos. Which Talos also sounds familiar. I feel like that's the name of the ocean base in what's that video game? Soma, but probably not.
Talos, a man who protected Crete from pirates and invaders in Greek mythology.
It's a cool name for a base. But the Tonga Trench is in the southwest Pacific Ocean.
There it is.
And it's the second deepest on Earth next to the Mariana Trench. Interesting. Anyway, not that that's important, but it's interesting to me. I entered the sub feeling excited while also dreading the return to the deep blue. It had been 10 years since serving as a hospital corpsman, one of the few actually stationed aboard a submarine. Over the years, I had clearly lost the natural sense I once had for the ocean, yet I longed desperately for it.
Whenever you're ready, Doc.
One of the crew members said, patiently waiting to drop us into the abyss. I raised my thumb.
As ready as I'll ever be. Go ahead.
10 feet. Twilight Zone. You do not hit the Twilight Zone's at like 1,000 feet. The impact with the ocean lightly shook the capsule. As we submerged, my nausea quickly diminished and a sense of peace washed over my mind. I was back. Outside the window, a few curious fish accompanied our journey downwards, various sea life attracted by the cargo ship, following to see us off. James piloted the miniature sub, having done the trip 1,000 times before. It wasn't anything new to him. Myself, I'd never been below 2,000 feet. Never had I been able to look through the window and admire the mostly unexplored blue world. 3,300 feet, the Midnight Zone. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm dumb. Yes, 10 feet is the Twilight Zone. I was thinking Midnight Zone. My bad.
No, you're right. I Googled it. The Twilight Zone is, I think it said 600 to 3,000 feet or something like that.
Okay, isn't the Twilight Zone where the sunlight begins to like disperse?
Yeah, it looks like the Sunlight Zone is the first, and then Twilight Zone and then Midnight Zone. Well, I mean, hey, what the fuck are we, masters of the ocean? Who cares?
I like that.
What are we, Poseidon?
What are we,
what am I,
masters of the ocean? As we sank deeper towards the abyss, the last strays of sunshine vanished. We had left the realm of sunshine and mankind, all in favor for the domain of darkness.
First time in the abyss, right?
James asked after a long bout of silence.
Yeah. Served aboard a submarine for a few years, but they never go very deep. This is something else.
He smiled at me.
Well, you're in for a treat then. We're going all the way down. Talos sits right at the edge of the trench. Ain't nothing quite like it.
Any sea life once curious about our sub had long since retreated towards brighter areas. The rapidly increasing pressure had proven hostile to most, but some resilient little creatures had found a way to thrive in places once thought to be lifeless. Miracles of the ocean. Within an hour, we had reached a depth of 10,000 feet. Beyond the 15-inch glass pane separating us from certain death lied nothing but everlasting darkness. For all we knew, the two of us could have been all that existed in that void. If not for the sound of the outer hull settling under the pressure, a constant reminder about the vastness of the ocean. To distract myself from the unsettling creaking sound, I asked James about the only thing I could think about.
Hey, is that the Titanic?
Just kidding. Sorry. All right.
I had the thought when they were talking about submarine pressure. I was like, that kind of reminds me of another submarine.
It's impossible. It's impossible to.
Yeah. Well, it'll be like that, I think forever. What a wild. Yeah.
That's a true fucking horror story. I've watched some documentaries about that. Man, that's an actual horror story, man.
Instantaneously. Like before their brains could process what was happening, they were all dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the horror is just like not going by like just like all the guidelines and stuff. I mean, like ignoring hole breaches, cracks, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Also, the whole thing I think was made of carbon fiber, which was like people said was like not a good metal to use, but whatever.
Why don't you tell me more about what happened down there?
James had acted casual that far, but my question quickly changed his nonchalant expression to a frown.
They briefed you on the surface, didn't they? Of course, but then that'll have to do.
He said firmly. 13,100 feet. The abyssal zone. The world outside hypnotized me. Staring so far into nothing, knowing there could be a full world only a couple of feet before you was bizarre. I never experienced true darkness until that day, and to think a good portion of Earth's life had existed within it for millions of years terrified me. When I served aboard the USS Cetacea, my captain explained why they don't put windows on submarines. He told stories about shipmates going crazy after years at sea. The isolation or distance from the mainland never bothered any of them. He firmly believed that staring into the ocean and pondering its secrets was what truly drove men from their sanity. And to combat this, they never put windows on their vessels. Though it was clearly a tale he made up, seeing what truly lies beyond the surface brought back these memories. Maybe he was right after all. My sinister thoughts were interrupted by a dim light appearing in the distance, a red dot dancing blissfully up and down, getting close to our little sub. It was a jellyfish.
Would you look at that?
James said as he pointed at the little creature, so fragile, yet defying the deep sea pressure. Another light joined in, a few more. Before long, a symphony of pulsating crimson lights formed around our capsule, welcoming us with the warmth of thousands of stars, making up their own little galaxy thousands of feet below the surface.
That's a beautiful description.
It was the most magnificent thing I'd ever seen. A bloom of jellyfish happily existing in such hostile conditions. I couldn't help but feel impressed.
They're called Atolla jellyfish. They don't usually venture this far down, but there's something about this place that seems to attract them. I usually see a few on my journeys down here, but never anything like this.
I just nodded in response, too mesmerized by the sight to notice what he said, but as quickly as they had appeared, they vanished, once more leaving us in absolute darkness.
It's kind of a great line, because it makes you think too. He's like, I see a couple, but I've never seen it like this. It's like it is meant to be like lucky, where you're like, well, it's really beautiful, but also to me that's also they are like kind of like the same like birds flying away from danger or whatever, you know,
yeah,
like that kind of thing.
Like what do you mean you've never seen this before? What does that mean?
Listen, Doc, I'm sorry about that outburst earlier.
I turned towards him, turning my back to the darkness for the first time. It made me feel vulnerable.
You gotta understand, this ain't something we usually deal with. And Mike, well, I've known him for most of my life. I know how much this sucks, believe me. I'm just trying to get as much info as possible for all our sakes. Yeah, well, there's nothing I can tell you anyway. The airlock has been on lockdown for the past 2 days. And we've been under strict orders not to open it until you deem it safe to do so.
I didn't ask any further questions. I dealt with contagions ever since leaving the Navy, and 90% of the time, they were simple overreactions. 19,700 feet. The ocean basin. For the first time since we left the ship, the radio came to life, emitting a static sound, one that slowly took the shape of a man's voice.
James, can you hear me? Loud and clear, Captain. I've got our man from the CDC with me as well. We're just about ready to dock. Great. The crew is getting impatient.
The radio started breaking up.
Damn. The radio is dock in section A. Go.
And then it shut off completely.
Welcome to the Abyssal Zone. The radio has been acting strange lately. Imagine giving us a state-of-the-art station, but comms from last millennium.
Through the window, we could see a massive dome lit up by hundreds of lights. 3 paths stretched from its center, each lit up by different colors, making sectors A, B, and C. There was something else lit up by station's lights. At first, just obscured figures, leaving shadows in the sand, but as we got closer, I realized they were fish. Hundreds, if not thousands, of dead sea creatures littering the ocean bed, corpses mangled from the intense pressure.
Christ, what the hell is up with this fish? Same as the Atolla. Something attracts them down here. They swim until their bodies break under the pressure. Then we sink. What could possibly do that? There are a few theories. From what we can tell, it's a sound that we periodically hear from the trench.
Ooh, I like that.
Interesting. I do like that. This is going to be very. Have you heard of the bloop before?
Mm-hmm.
The like the noise that was heard. It reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Also, while we're talking about, have you ever seen this before? Hold on. I'm going to send this to you.
Also, do you want to describe the bloop? Should we describe the bloop for the viewers that?
Yeah. So there was this sound that was heard on a audio recording in the Pacific, I think. In like 2008, 2009, and it was like this like loud, deep like blue, like a noise that was picked up on mics that were like 1,000 miles apart from each other. So whatever made that noise was like way bigger than a whale or something like that. Now the realistic, like to be lame, the thing it probably was like underwater tectonic plates shifting and creating the noise. But the fun answer is that it's a sea creature at the bottom of the ocean that's larger than anything we have on record. So there's a bunch of stories of like, you know, these deep underwater ocean noises. So it seems like it's kind of playing into that idea. Although it doesn't have to be the bloop. I mean, it's not super state of the art to say there's a weird noise coming from underwater, right? Especially like, as you said, the idea of things being drawn down here, dare I say, does feel quite Lovecraftian.
A fun. I was scrolling through. That's why I was kind of late to respond. But this website, we'll leave a link to it. He basically sent me a link that's neil.fun/deepsea, but you're able just to scroll through the deep and just kind of see the fish that exist down there. Very entertaining while reading this. And I will say, I agree. I think that the basically like a siren call, like a Lovecraftian siren call to even the fish is really interesting. It's just a concept for a story, but I really like how the story is giving us little bits of exposition without ever being too intrusive. You know, it's just kind of the little back and forth. You can tell James is just like wanted to help his buddy down there, but you can tell it's just the layer of commands are making it kind of awkward. Even James is like, doesn't know what's going on. And even the Doc, our main character, is kind of, I don't think it's fully been brought in on what is going on.
I think so. A lot of people have probably seen this website. It like gets famous on TikTok from time to time. You can actually see the Atolla jellyfish on here around 4,000 meters. This thing puts into insane perspective how deep the ocean is. You randomly be scrolling and see like, oh, well, this is how far like sperm whales dive, and it's like after you've been in the midnight zone for a long time. The docking process in itself took quite some time. The outer hull had changed ever so slightly due to the high pressure, just enough so that fitting into the station proved a challenge. As the doors finally opened, I stumbled outside the capsule, greeted by 3 of the crew members aboard.
You're the doctor, right?
The oldest of them asked.
That's correct.
He said as he reached out his hand to introduce himself.
The name's Robert Lewis. I'm the captain assigned to Talos.
He said as he shook my hand.
Thank you for coming this far. I know it's not the most pleasant journey.
He seemed polite enough, though clearly sleep-deprived. Bloodshot eyes and greasy hair.
This is Jennifer Burke, one of our biologists, and that's Henry Gale, our technician.
They both shook my hand, neither making eye contact as they did.
Hey, Cap. Where's Abby? Still at Section B. She's not doing too well, as I'm sure you can understand.
James nodded.
Let's talk,
Robert said as he gestured for me to follow. The hallways were narrow, dimly lit up with lights that flickered and constant creaking emitting from the walls. It looked disproportionate considering how large it had all seemed from the outside, and as a rather tall guy, I had to crouch down to keep my head from knocking into the ceiling.
I'm sorry about the grim mood. It's the first time we're dealing with something like this. I'm assuming they told you about the situation on the surface? Or? They did, but I have to admit I'm a bit fuzzy on the details. As are we. Mike put himself in lockdown as soon as he returned to the station, and we haven't had clearance to open it yet. Mike didn't give any good reasons? He never got the chance. He fell over dead the second he hit the button.
Robert led us into the central dome. In contrast to the hallways, it was a pleasant surprise. A large living space filled with furniture and personal effects. Had I not known better, I could have believed we were still on the surface.
Mike discovered some microorganisms down in the trench. A new type of parasite, he said. He claimed they were able to withstand any amount of pressure. which isn't a surprise down here, but he also explained that we were completely unaffected by rapid changes in environment.
Robert said as we headed inside an office.
Did he believe he was contagious? Seeing as he was our microbiologist, I can't really come up with any fallible conclusion. Needless to say, we destroyed all the samples, but we still don't know why he put himself into lockdown. But that's not the strangest thing.
I waited patiently for him to continue. While I tried to form words, he clearly had trouble believing himself.
We lost him in the trench for 3 entire days. The tracking systems failed and the comms went down. We did whatever we could, but it was futile. Even if we had found him, he only had enough oxygen for 10 hours, so we unfortunately just presumed he had died. Then, out of nowhere, his tracker reappeared on our systems, showing that he was moving back up to the Tonga elevator. And though he never responded to any of our attempts at contacting him, he was clearly alive. How? It's impossible, but yet it happened. Once we led him to the station, he simply locked it down and fell over dead on the ground.
Interesting.
How fucked up would that be, by the way? 3 days, you have 10 hours of oxygen, okay? 3 days, and then all of a sudden you reappear. So he was missing, reappears, comes back up, locks himself down, or locks the door and just immediately dies. Very, very fucked. Fuck that. I'd be like, send down one of those fucking pods. Get me out. Get me the fuck out.
Put me on that little tampon you got that came
exactly.
down
The
here.
fucking metal tube. Shoot me up, Doc.
Man, what an interesting concept. Kind of like this mystery happening at a super high-tech underwater base. Before Robert could continue, the technician walked into the office.
When you examine him, be careful not to damage the EPM suit.
This is hardly the time, Henry.
Robert commanded, glaring at him.
I'm just saying, this is $1 billion project.
Why don't you go get the equipment for our doctor here?
Robert demanded, getting more agitated by the minute.
Look, Captain, if you just let me get into the airlock, I could take all the necessary precautions.
Absolutely not. Do you think the headquarters would have sent the damn CDC if they thought we couldn't handle it? For Christ's sakes, Henry, know your limits.
The technician left to quickly return with a modified hazmat suit and some surgical supplies. Moved on towards Section B. Unlike the hallways we had traversed before, these were large and well lit up. As we arrived at the airlock, we found Abby standing before the glass door, staring longingly at Mike's lifeless body.
Abby, I know it's time.
She responded as she turned around.
Oh, you're the doctor?
She asked, her eyes red and voice trembling. I nodded.
You'll figure out what did this to him, won't you? I just don't understand. Abby, why don't you come with me while they work? You don't need to see this.
As Robert led her back to the central dome, Henry started unpacking the cart of medical supplies, including isolation drapes and the hazmat suit.
All right. I'm going to guide you through this. No need to mess up a perfectly good EPM suit.
What does EPM mean anyway?
Exoskeletal pressure modulator.
Henry said as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. James and Jennifer helped me seal the hazmat suit, while Henry hung up the isolation drapes. I stepped through while Jennifer entered a code behind me to open the airlock. My ears popped as they sealed the door shut behind me. Both the drapes and airlock were transparent, meaning they could observe everything I did, in addition to a mounted camera on my shoulder for closer view, displayed on a monitor on the other side. Just by the control panel, Mike lay dead, wearing a massive black suit, looking more like a robotic piece of machinery than diver's gear. There were several cables and hooks hanging from the ceiling, and just turning him over was a massive task, as he weighed about half a ton wearing the suit. His face was pale as sheet, with thin streaks of blood pouring from every available orifice. The eyes were red from conjunctival bleeding, completely ridding them from any white.
I'm ready.
All right. The first thing you'll need to do is to simply inspect the suit. Look for any breaches in the integrity. It shouldn't be possible, but in the unlikely event that something broke through, a self-healing mesh should have formed. It looks kind of gray.
I looked over every inch of his suit from top to bottom.
There! His feet!
Sure enough, there was a patch of gray that stood out from the matte black metal covering the rest of him.
Something actually perforated his suit.
I got closer, giving them a better view on the monitor.
Clearly the puncture wasn't what killed him, though.
I'd agree with that assessment. Any breach not sealed off within a nanosecond would immediately crush him, but it seemed that the mesh had replaced whatever penetrated the suit at the same time as it was removed.
Next, attach the cables to his shoulder. They are color-coded, so it should be easy enough.
I attached the cables as instructed, which caused the suit to light up and start unhinging. The front of the suit opened up, revealing Mike's completely mangled body.
What the hell? That's not pressure damage.
Mike's ribs were broken outwards.
Oof.
But they had not torn apart his flesh. His chest seemed to have expanded almost twice its normal size. I continued to remove the helmet, pulling it off his head. I looked into his eyes for a brief moment, baffled as to what could have caused his internal organs to essentially explode. For the briefest of moments, it seemed like his eyes moved to meet my gaze.
Did you just see that?
No one said a word.
Ooh.
We all just stared at Mike.
That's fucking
we all just stared
creepy,
at Mike.
dude.
It's like the eyes are completely red from all the blood, and like his chest is huge, and he like looks at you really quick.
Yeah,
Man.
or yeah, you think it's like, did I picture that, or did it actually happen? You know,
I love this setting. A
it's
super like futuristic high tech underwater base, and there's like a quote unquote disease that killed this guy, and they're doing a.
You're saying super high tech. I'm thinking like, I guess like less futuristic and high tech, and more like something that you would see today. It's almost like whenever you see like a NASA space station. It's very like, I don't know, like the exposed cords and stuff. Like it's not like Star Trek. You know what I mean? It's very kind of like bare bones. I mean, it's high tech in the way that it's a device that's up in the stars, but I don't know. Like I'm picturing this thing of like grated metal, and just even like the terrifying sounds of like creaking metal moving, like just kind of like existing outside is fucking me up. Like claustrophobic.
I'm not thinking of it as like high sci-fi. In my head, it's like there's certainly some sci-fi elements like the self-healing mesh, and like the exoskeleton suit and stuff. Mm-hmm. But are you familiar with the video game Soma?
No,
It's this video game where you're like at the bottom of the ocean after like there's been a plague that's wiped out humanity or whatever. But the aesthetics from that game are what I'm imagining. So like a bunch of exposed pipes. Everything's kind of in a state of decay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. That's kind of what I picture this in my head. No one said a word. We all just stared at Mike, waiting for something to happen. His eyes moved again, darting in random directions as he started gargling, violently contracting his chest.
Oh God, he's still alive!
Jennifer asked. He opened his mouth, letting thousands of massive worms pour out onto the floor.
Oh my God.
They immediately crawled in every direction, up the walls, onto the ceiling, desperately searching for a way out. Mike continued to spew out more slimy worms. His mouth tore open in the process, leaving his jaw completely unhinged before falling off.
Yes.
Once all the worms seemed to have exited his corpse, his chest tore open, revealing even larger worms. It quickly became apparent that all of his organs had been consumed, replaced with the disgusting creatures. Some of them started clinging to my suit as I swatted at them in panic. None of the others knew what to do. They could only stare at me, flailing around. As the worms touched each other, their flesh temporarily fused, forming longer versions of themselves, growing in size and then breaking off again. They wrapped around my arms and legs. I begged for someone to help me, but what could they do?
Hang in there!
Henry yelled as he fumbled with the panel for the airlock. Within seconds, a few small taps emerged from the ceiling, spewing what I could only assume was liquid nitrogen. Whatever it was, the worms froze in place, freezing to the point where I could break them into tiny pieces. It only took a moment, but all the worms had been killed off, and though my suit had partially protected me from the cold, I collapsed, exhausted and shivering onto the ground.
Get me the fuck out of here!
I demanded, knowing full well they couldn't do that until I had dealt with the infestation. Robert had just returned in time to see what the commotion was about, and upon seeing what remained of Mike lying torn to pieces on the ground, he stopped in his tracks. After a minute of catching my breath, I got some sense back. With some morbid sense of humor and functioning on autopilot, I turned towards Henry.
Sorry, but the suit isn't going to be salvaged. We're ejecting the whole fucking airlock as soon as I get out of here.
Henry turned to Robert, pleading for him to make me reconsider despite what we had all just witnessed, but Robert took my side. After removing the reporting unit from the EPM suit, I packed the entire thing into an easily ejectable container, while making sure that no worms remained on my suit. All I took was a small sample of a frozen worm packed into a vacuum container. I exited the airlock and handed the sample over to Jennifer. She had prepared the previous parasites brought back by Mike, and I told her to get everything ready so I could determine what we were dealing with. Robert started the procedure of ejecting the airlock's content, including what remained of Mike in the EPM suit, Henry pouting the whole time. James hadn't moved an inch since the event. He turned sickly pale, as if he just realized the severity of the situation.
We have to tell him, Captain.
He said quietly after a few minutes.
Tell me what?
I asked while getting out of the hazmat suit. Robert took a deep breath, mulling over his options.
You're right. Tell me what? The reason why we're stationed down here.
End of part
what
one.
What a banger, dude. Whoa. Whoa. Man, I didn't stop because that scene was so well paced, but gosh, the worms flying out of him and getting everywhere, and they fuse together, then fall back apart. Oh, it's like giant nematodes pouring out.
I love it.
Oh, that's great.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Gosh, what a banger, dude. Let's go.
Man, great. Just, I mean, like, I want to keep going. I'm very hooked. The pacing is not only good, we've established a bunch of characters, and there's a lot of great stuff that sets this up for me so far, which is just deception. No one really knows what the fuck is going on. The doc has been sitting down basically on what I can assume is a suicide mission of the sorts.
Yes.
And then also people aren't telling them of like whatever secret that we're getting ready to find out is what they're actually working on down in the bottom of an ocean on this over $1 billion project going down. It's just, there's so much great stuff. The buildup is great, but also just the gross chest ripping open and worms and it's just, it's vile and it's fucking horrific. I'm so bought in, dude.
Such an excellent aesthetic. I love it. I love the setting. I love everything about it. I was saving this till the end of the first part. So to give an idea of how much I love it, I think one of the first stories I ever wrote that was over like a page was I had a creative writing class, I think my sophomore year, maybe junior year of high school. And at the end of it, we had to write a short story. So I wrote like this 15-page short story called Leviathan. That was about a group of researchers that were sent to the bottom of the ocean. And they thought they were down there to like analyze some new creature that was reported. But at the end, it turns out they were never sent to the bottom of the ocean. The container they were placed into on top of the ocean was actually a farce. And they were in a monitoring station where they were being induced with like drugs and like psychedelics and stuff like that to see like an MK Ultra kind of thing to see what their reaction was. And at the end, like the door, they go crazy and open the door of the airlock and just step outside into a field. So, which that one was like a rug pull. And I think I posted it somewhere online, but then deleted it shortly thereafter because I was like, this is not good. I don't like my writing here. But yeah, like I've always been obsessed with the underwater ocean thing, and the aesthetics of this are great. I like his writing a lot. I like the characters, I like the way information's given. This is a banger. Big fan.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know. It's just setting itself up in great ways. Also, too, deep ocean horror. Just fun. What are you supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? It's great.
It's very fun. It's very fun. All right. Well, are you ready for part 2?
Part 2. Let's keep it rolling.
Death can be a beautiful thing. Beyond all the stigma associated around the event, it's the beginning of a world that starts directly from the end of another. When a whale dies in extreme depths, they sink towards the ocean floor, where entire ecosystems arise from their decomposing bodies. This is called a whale fall. Mike's EPM suit had left behind 3 days worth of footage. Henry was put on the task of preparing it for viewing. While we couldn't save him, nor the suit, we could at least figure out how Mike died. As we waited, the captain decided it was time for me to learn the truth about their mission, and why no one on the surface had ever heard about the scientific wonder that was Talos.
You saw all the dead sea creatures littering the ocean floor around the station?
I recalled the hundreds of mangled bodies of fish, not the most welcoming sight to the abyss.
James told me something compelled them to dive down here. Some sort of sound?
Robert nodded as he pulled up a computer. After a moment of fumbling, he clicked on a sound file.
About 5 years ago, we recorded this coming from the depths of the Tonga Trench.
It was an oddly synthetic sound, like a whale's mating call had been pitched down and jumbled around. In the midst of it all, there was something that sounded like a whisper.
They recorded something similar around the Mariana Trench. and called it the biotwang.
It looks like the biotwang's an actual thing. Looking it up. Strange sound of the biotwang was first heard bouncing around the Mariana Trench 10 years ago. But apparently they now say that it is the moan of a bride's well. What is a bride's well? I've never heard of that kind of well. Oh, how deep are these things? I don't like that. I don't like that they're that deep. Okay, anyway. The sound played on loop as we talked, oddly eerie for something so innocent.
We first thought it came from a whale, just a bit distorted after traveling vast distances, or instrumental interferences. But then we saw how it affected the wildlife in the region. Blooms of jellyfish appearing out of nowhere, and fish defying all instincts to dive towards the crushing pressure. What made the sound then?
Robert pulled up some pictures on the screen. Creatures similar to roundworms, pitch black. They looked nothing like what I had just witnessed in the airlock, however.
From what we can tell, there's a thus far completely undiscovered ecosystem somewhere down the trench, isolated for millions of years, unaffected by mass extinction events. They have evolved quite differently from life we see on the surface. It's like millions of single-celled organisms working together to form more complex creatures. But unlike ourselves, the cells can detach and rejoin at will. We named it the Syncytium, and that's what killed Mike. They could be a part of it, but what we just saw in the airlock is far longer than the microorganisms we gathered here.
Before we could continue, James interrupted, letting us know the footage was ready to be reviewed.
If they ever decide to declassify the existence of the station, they'll never mention the creatures, nor the sound that alerted us to their presence. I'm sure one day they hailed this all as a supreme technological advancement. But truth be told, the reason why the Navy put billions and billions of dollars into this project, so that humanity could traverse the ocean floor, is simply because they want to find whatever is making the sound, and find a way to use it. Gav, they're waiting for us.
We gathered in the central area. Abby sat in the back some distance away from everyone else. She seemed even worse for wear than before, frail, as if she'd lost weight in the past couple of hours since meeting her. Henry controlled the footage, ready to speed through to the important bits, as the descent itself was quite slow. 20,000 feet. The Hadal Zone. I love that recurring thing is still keeping up. Like, the deeper you go, it says the zones that we're entering. That's great.
It's a constant reminder to let you know, like, hey, we're in the middle of nowhere, or like you're in the deepest parts of the ocean. It's like, it's a nice little tap on your head.
Yeah, also the Hadal Zone is, if I recall right, it's named that after Hades. Like, it's the same.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's like the bottom, the nothing. So right. We're in hell now. Everything we saw would be from Mike's point of view. Footage started at the airlock, Abby standing before him with a concerned expression on her face.
Don't worry. I'll be back before you know it. It's not like it's my first time in the depths. It's not like they waste $1 billion on me dying anyways.
She didn't seem consoled by his words.
This time is different. We haven't tested the suit beyond 30,000 feet yet.
No, but we've tested pressure. The suit should be able to go much further before breaking.
Henry forwarded the footage. Mike stood directly at the edge of the Tonga Trench. To his left, a platform extended even further down towards the Hadal Zone. An elevator set at the platform center. A short distance down the trench, he saw endlessly long tendrils gently swaying with the current. They belonged to the body of a malformed creature, looking like it couldn't possibly control its long appendages, yet it seemed unfazed by the depths.
Gosh, are you seeing this?
He said excitedly as he pointed at the bizarre being.
It's a magnipean squid.
What does that look like? Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, this is the big fin squid. Yeah. This thing went around online because someone got a video of one underneath an oil rig just floating in the distance. Look that up, Hunter. type that in and tell me that it's the worst thing ever.
I would, my God.
I know, right?
What the fuck?
Huge. Those tendrils are like, how long
it says here,
is that?
it says here 26 foot long armed squid found in November of 27 by an oil rig. 26 feet
26 feet. Yeah. Think about how small you'd be next to it.
Yeah, you know Shaq? Yeah, he's not that tall.
sees like an unspeakable entity underwater. How many shacks is that?
Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're looking at maybe, I don't know, probably 7 shacks right here. Are you getting this? Do you guys see this? That's 7 shacks.
There's just, hold on.
7 shacks and 3 championship rings. Holy shit.
This thing might be 10 shacks long.
This is 10 shacks long. That's 10 shacks. Pull me up.
He has the picture I just sent you on the wall, but it's just Shaquille O'Neal. Anytime they see something, he runs over to the chart. He's like, "Oh my
All right,
God.
let me stack the shacks on top of each other and see what we're really dealing with here."
Captain, you're gonna want to see the Captain Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. Come on, Chuck. Charles Barkley's down there too. Shaq, I should have told y'all we had to go down to San Antonio. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he sees the squid. He's like, "That's that San Antonio woman floating around out there."
Yeah, the best Charles Barkley quote of all time is he's like, "San Antonio women need to learn 2 words. I'm full." Is like the greatest thing of all time. Full. All right.
All right. So that thing's floating around down there. He almost jogged along the edge to get a better view, suit audibly exhausted by the effort.
Don't put too much strain on the suit.
Henry interjected over the radio.
It'll be fine. What else did they pay for?
As he got closer to the squid, another popped up behind it, one with even longer appendages.
Damn. I never thought I'd see one up so close.
Stop messing around and get on the elevator.
Fine, let's not enjoy our jobs then.
He boarded the elevator and strapped himself in. The journey would take him another 15,000 feet into the abyss. It was a loud, sturdy piece of machinery able to withstand the immense pressure of the dreaded Hadal Zone. Mike himself would control the speed of the descent, only handing over control to Henry should something happen. Not long after the descent started, Mike stalled the elevator.
The suit is making weird noises. That's normal. It's adjusting to the pressure change. We told you that would happen the deeper you got.
Henry explained with an annoyed tone.
Yeah, I know, but...
You'll be fine.
27,000 feet. Once more, Mike stopped the elevator, directing his gaze at an edge sticking out from the cliffside. On it lay the corpse of a bowhead whale, almost half a planet away from its natural habitat. The whale had been partially hollowed out, riddled with deep-sea eels and tiny, eyeless fish, an entire ecosystem deriving from its death.
How did that whale get here?
It died. Like all the other creatures down here.
Yeah, but it's a bowhead. At least I think it is. Don't they live around the Arctic?
Just continue the descent.
35,433 feet. Horizon deep. The elevator reached the bottom of the trench after about an hour, allowing Mike to finally unbuckle himself from his seat. Grabbed a box of beacons to allow the next person to easier navigate the area. After stepping off the platform and getting away from its bright lights, it became abundantly clear that the bottom of the ocean was far from empty, and that entire bed was covered in previously undiscovered life, millions of fungal-like plants covering the floor and transparent fat shrimp swimming between, apparently feeding off them. On the cliff wall itself, thousands of bioluminescent plants extended, just a stalk with a blue bulb bending in the direction of Mike's movement. It was hauntingly beautiful, looking as alien as anything from another planet. He continued along the cliffside, putting down a beacon every 100 feet or so.
I half expected this place to be horrible. You know, being named after the god of the underworld and all.
Oh, look at that. I was right. Thanks, Mike. No one responded to his comment.
Guys, you can still hear me, right? Yes, Mike, we can hear you. We're here to work, not make stupid quips. Has anyone ever told you how much better life can be if you just try to enjoy it? Henry, stop being such a killjoy. We're making history down here.
I love the that Henry's being a Poindexter about everything. And Mike's like, look, that squid was like 18 shacks long. Okay.
I mean,
Can
Henry, think about it.
Think
Think about it, Henry. 12 shacks tall. And you didn't crack one
You ever
smile?
seen that, Henry?
Okay.
I will say I do not like Bootlicker Henry. I'll be completely honest. Don't like him.
Bootlicker Henry. Are you on your ACAB arc again?
Well, listen. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel 10 shacks tall right now. That's all I have to say.
I didn't like the way you said that. I could hear the smirk. You were like, well,
I don't even know what you mean.
it's not an arc if you never got off.
It's true.
Every time, my dog back there, every time he lays down, he looks like he's been shot. Like he
Will you give him?
like all four legs sprawled out.
There's
just
no way
straight
you would
down.
shoot him. You spoiled that dog rotten, dude.
Oh, Benny, yeah.
I remember he. For people who don't know, yeah, I went down to his house in like the dog's roll, whatever. Benny, because you said he was just getting out of the hospital, right?
Yes, I think when you came down.
Yeah, because it was funny because he was that night. He was like, "Oh, this is his favorite snack," and Isaiah was breaking off little pieces of dark Ghirardelli chocolate from his fridge, and he kept handing it to him. And then I don't know, he got sick and all that kind of stuff. But he spoils that dog rotten.
Okay, I've never given my dog chocolate. It was a knee surgery.
No, remember you said you're like,
stuff.
"Oh, Ghirardelli, you're spoiled." And it's at 110% dark cocoa.
Okay, that didn't happen. I love my dog. Very nice to him. He had elbow dysplasia, so he got a procedure to fix it, and now look how passive he is. He doesn't hurt anymore. And then his brother Ollie had to have double knee replacement
rest
because
his
both of
soul.
his knees went out. So
Yeah.
he's still alive. Ollie's still alive. Thank you. It's not dead. He just doesn't like coming up the stairs up here because he's old
That
and his
Garrett,
legs hurt.
that Ghirardelli sponsor is really paying itself in full, huh?
All right, well, I'm just going to keep reading. So, I'm not going to win this one. Henry didn't respond.
How about you hand Abby the radio? Hell, I'd rather listen to the captain ramble about protocol, going on and on.
Mike stopped dead in his tracks, reaching the end of the cliff. Before him was a steep fall, leading down to an endless chasm of darkness.
Henry, are you sure the elevator took me all the way down to the trench?
He asked as he stared into the abyss.
Yes. You're at 35,000 feet. Well, it's just that I'm standing at the edge of the cliff, and this is clearly not the bottom of the ocean. That's impossible. We surveyed the entire area with the sonar. Well, I'm telling you.
The ground beneath Mike crumbled to pieces. He slid off the edge of the cliff and dove further into the deep.
Oh shit! Fuck that. So now he's like free falling a little bit, or he's like just sliding or whatever. Fuck that.
The darkness now surrounding him was absolute. Nothing could possibly help him orient himself as he fell. To fall in the ocean was a much slower process, giving him time to think what kind of fate awaited him as he sunk to depths never before known by mankind. He called out for his crew members while desperately clawing at the cliff, but even with the suit, he was unable to slow his descent. As he got deeper, the suit started emitting loud beeps, alarms to alert to rapid pressure changes exceeding 16,000 psi. Before he could even react, he hit the ground hard. Mike fell silent, passed out from the impact. Unknown feet. The void. Minutes after landing at unknown depths, Mike awoke to the sound of his suit beeping. The suit had held its ground and was starting to adjust to the new pressure. The manometer was broken. His tracking device malfunctioning. We could only try to guess how far he'd fallen. Mike grunted as he got to his feet, taking some time to figure out what had happened.
Henry, you there?
No response.
Captain. Anyone?
Apart from a few malfunctioning instruments, most of the suit seemed intact, yet no contact could be made with the base. Everything past that point would be after the comms went down, and we all patiently awaited to learn of Mike's fate. Despite having fallen far beyond what we believed to be the ocean floor, he had just landed on another plateau, with an endless distance still progressing downwards. The abyss was ever present, taunting us with its emptiness.
Please respond, please respond.
He begged, defeated. He activated the beacon still attached to him and checked his surroundings. He had landed directly in front of a cave leading inside the cliff wall, and moving steeply upwards, while protocol strictly dictated to wait for rescue in these situations, we could hear gargled sound emitting from the cave. Whatever it was, it compelled Mike, decided to check out the cave. The walls inside were perfectly smooth. an impossible formation of rocks reflecting the bright light shining from EPM suit, lighting up the cave as far as it stretched. Man, how otherworldly.
Fuck that.
It's like a tube, and like your own lights from the suit are reflecting so far it lights it up.
Also, too, just the thought that he's on a plateau, it still goes deeper, much deeper.
Yes. He's nowhere near the bottom, yeah. Mike stared at the shiny walls for a moment, adjusting the light. They had seemed smooth at an angle, but when light was pointed directly at them, it uncovered bizarre patterns, like symbols not corresponding to any known language. That's so cool. While he studied the symbols, a loud sound shook through the cave, almost sweeping Mike off his feet. It sounded similar to the biotwang, but with slight differences. The rhythm was changed. It seemed to put Mike further into a trance, and he diligently followed the source, ignoring any chance of rescue the further in he went. The cave led to a much larger cavern, extending beyond the reach of any light source he had available. Unlike the tunnel, these walls weren't smooth, but were covered in millions of tiny holes, each perfectly round, each identical to the last. Upon closer inspection, the holes weren't empty, but filled with worms, just like the ones we'd seen spewing out of his body inside the airlock. He wriggled and reached for Mike as he walked through the cavern, pulled towards the sound in the distance, getting louder with each passing step. The deeper he got, the less he seemed distracted by the holes, which were growing in size alongside the worms. Mike's only hypnotic objective was to reach the sound. On top of the worms, spindly, long-legged creatures walked across. They looked like shellless spider crabs, dipping their limbs into the worms, merging temporarily while seeming to feed them. For each dip into the holes, their limbs grew shorter, while the worms expanded. So the worms that can form together to make different structures, like make these spider crab-like shapes. Crawling around. Have you ever seen a spider crab before?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're freaky. Eventually, he reached a corner of the cavern, with it the source of the sound. It was half-consumed whale calf attached to the wall, bound by hundreds of massive worms extending into its torn flesh. Despite being half-eaten and broken beyond any chance at life, it somehow didn't succumb, as if the worms themselves kept it alive, involuntary life support, repurposed for their own needs. The calf gaped open, its half-eaten jaw, so mangled Mike could see straight into its vocal cords, which were also covered in the worms, tugging and moving them into position. The whale screamed, emitting another jumbled sound that pulled Mike even closer. While Mike was distracted, several worms had emerged from their holes, rapidly swarming around him. Within seconds, they had joined together, wrapping around his legs and climbing up the suit. It temporarily brought Mike back to sanity as he tried to tear the worms off, but they were far faster than him, trapped inside a slow, metal box. He stumbled to the ground, allowing more worms and their spindles to cover each of his limbs. The creatures merged together, forming a sheet of flesh that soon covered the entirety of his body. Mike fell silent, and the camera showed nothing but a flesh-colored mass muffling any audio save for Mike's panicked breath. He screamed as a loud bang almost broke the speakers, the sound of his suit being perforated and the mesh refilling the hole we had found on the sole of his feet. The creatures had gotten inside his suit, digging into his flesh, Mike crying in agony before falling silent. We all stood speechless in front of the monitor, now displaying nothing but a timer, proving the camera was still running. Abby had left, with James following to console her.
That can't be. Let me forward it.
Henry said, half whispering in shock. We forwarded through almost 3 days of nothing, while the worms incubated inside Mike, trapped alone in the cavern, no one knowing where he was. The cameras started clearing up, the flesh sheet peeling off as the view showed that Mike had returned to the elevator. During the 3 days down in the trench, the Syncytium had occupied, covering it with their fleshy appendages. Mike was controlling it, or whatever remained of him inside the suit. He wandered towards the station, flakes of syncytial flesh falling off him for each step. His crew called out for him over the radio now that they could reach him, but Mike could do nothing but gargle as worms had consumed most of his lungs. At the airlock, he stumbled inside, ready to unleash hell within the station. But for a brief moment, Mike managed to halt himself. Perhaps the thought of hurting those he loved was enough for him to temporarily gain control, just enough time to shut down the airlock, putting himself into lockdown. Mike collapsed to the ground. He had died days ago, but his will remained even as he turned into nothing more than a vessel for the horrors he now carried with him. The footage ended. We stood in silence for a moment, none of us daring to speak a word about Mike's cause of death. I hardly believed it, despite having almost fallen victim to the same fate.
Henry, call headquarters. Tell them we're shutting this project down,
Robert said, breaking the silence.
Jennifer, destroy the sample from the airlock. It's still sealed, right?
Jennifer nodded before heading towards the lab.
We need to make sure whatever this is, it stays in the abyss.
I joined Henry as he attempted to call headquarters, the radio returning nothing more than jumbled static. Robert was checking all security feed, sending out drones to scavenge for the Syncytium at the elevator.
Captain, the comms are completely down. Can't get any signal.
On the security feed, we saw that the flesh of the Syncytium had stretched along the ground, covering some of the corpses of fish that littered the ocean floor. It was impossibly large, using the elevator and platform as a scaffold for climbing up towards the station. A loud metallic clang sounded through the station, followed by an alarm.
What the hell was that?
Hull breach, Sector C.
An automated voice said.
Isolated! What about just do it?
Henry frantically tried to navigate the security system, attempting to get an idea as to the extent of the damage.
What's in Sector C? It's the lab. Fucking hell. I hope Jennifer didn't get there yet.
While the station sealed, trapping anyone inside, another loud bang shook us. The alarm sounded again.
Hull breach, Sector B. Fuck, what now?
Robert stood still in shock, frozen by the decision of saving the station or fleeing.
We have to evacuate,
was all he could say. End of part 2.
Part 2 into part 3. I want to just roll right in. I'm stoked.
Part 3.
I will say too, just that the worms can just basically join together and create basically a giant flesh blanket that just can like wrap around, and like also them being able to reanimate life is pretty sick too. The idea of like a whale head just being down there screaming is so creepy.
Well, it gives you the idea that it could do the same with people, right?
Well, yeah, that's what happened with
they could use
Mike.
the vocal cords to speak.
Yeah.
They just puppeted him. Yeah, they kept him alive enough to move, but
a found footage POV of Mike's thing, and all you hear is just him gargling like, because it's just basically worms just rolling around in his throat. Just so gross, man.
Part 3, the final part. Most of my old crew, after leaving the Navy, struggled to get over their longing for the ocean. Such was the case for my submarine captain, Lewis Johnson. He always claimed the sea would be his final resting place, where he truly belonged. Following his honorable discharge, he went straight into hyperbaric pipeline welding. It's a dangerous job where the only enemy is invisible. Always stalking each dive, each new mission, a foe that can't be sensed, but with the ability to destroy everything you are in a split second. Pressure.
Maybe I'm cursed. Unable to live on land with my own people, but at least I'll die where I belong,
he had said. Johnson would be lucky enough to forever be united with his one true love. At the sight of a purse pipe, took him away, finally making him one with the deep blue. It's funny how the brain operates as everything around you is falling to pieces, far beyond your own control. Once there's nothing left you can do, the mind turns to a place of safety, fond memories from a time long since past. For me, those memories belong to my time of service, to my old captain and crew. It wasn't an easy time, but it was filled with purpose, with my problems solely confined to the ocean. When Robert yelled at me to get my ass in gear, I finally snapped back to reality.
Doc, come on! We've got to get the hell out of here!
James returned to the Central Dome alongside Abby. They had heard the alarms, but hadn't the faintest idea about what had occurred during their brief absence.
Get to Section A. There's still 2 transport capsules. Get number 05 ready for departure and wait for me. Bap, what are you gonna do? Jennifer's in lockdown. I'm getting her out. What if the creatures got inside?
Robert thought for a moment before handing her a walkie.
If you don't hear from me in 15, just leave.
The station shook as another hole was torn through one of the sections. My ears popped from the shockwave.
I'm coming with you. You're not facing them alone. No, we need you to pilot the transport capsule. If you get hurt, we're stuck down here.
It wasn't a valid excuse. They all knew fully well that the submarine was easy enough for any of the crew members to maneuver, but Robert refused to risk any more lives and would use whatever reason he could come up with.
Cap, please. That's an order! Get out of here now!
He hesitantly agreed and started leaving.
I'll join you then. I know nothing about this station or the sub. I can at least assist you should something happen.
I said, knowing he couldn't come up with any excuse to stop me. He reluctantly agreed, and together we headed for the labs in Section C, worrying that Jennifer might be trapped behind the airlock, or worse. Drowning is a horrible way to die. Once you realize there's no way to reach the surface, you're trapped in a cold, dark tomb. Your throat simply closes up. No matter how hard you try to inhale, your body simply refuses, even as the agonizing pain of running out of air overpowers your natural instinct to breathe. You simply refuse to give in to the overwhelming desire. It isn't until the body starts shutting down and the corners of your vision start to darken that you reach the breaking point. Your brain decides to pull something in, regardless of whether air is present or not. Suddenly, ice-cold water flows in through your throat, unstoppably filling your lungs, so desperate for air. It's a clumsy, painful way to go. By the time water has filled each alveoli, most are still unconscious, with just enough time to regret their decision to ever enter the ocean. I thought it funny as we ran towards the airlock that at least we wouldn't drown. Surely the worms would consume us, or the pressure from a collapsing station would instantly crush us.
How did the hole get breached anyway?
I asked as we got closer.
It's supposed to be impossible, but I'm sure it's those fucking monsters.
The alarm had stopped alerting us about the hull breach and was now recommending a station-wide evacuation.
Warning. Hull integrity severely compromised. All crew report to designated docking stations.
How much time do we have? Not enough.
As we turned the corner at Section C, we saw Jennifer sitting against the wall on the wrong side of the airlock. It took a moment to realize the horror of her situation. We saw her legs fused with the flesh of this Insidium. It started eating away at her lower body, digging their way through her flesh and rapidly replacing her organs with their own meat. Despite all this, she remained conscious.
Jen,
Robert said, the only word he could muster from the shock of what lay in front of our eyes. She slowly turned her head towards us with her eyes red from hemorrhaging, as worms had consumed her insides.
Captain, is that you?
She said, weakly, blind from the blood filling the inside of her eyes.
I'm here, Jen. I guess the sampler wasn't dead after all.
She joked with a hoarse voice as she coughed up what could only be a mixture of blood and lung parenchyma.
Maybe tell the doctor double-check these things in the future. He's here with me now. I'm so sorry, Jen. I know. There's nothing left to do. I guess this is just it.
She coughed up, violently spewing out pieces of her lung and worms.
Don't worry, Captain. It's not your fault that a monster from the abyss crawled its way up to destroy us.
She said, voice cracking as she writhed in agony. I looked over at Robert. He looked horrified, but couldn't take his eyes off her.
It really hurts. Please eject this section. I just want it to be over.
Robert nodded, forgetting that she couldn't see him. I went over to the control panel. It's fairly easy to use, especially after having witnessed Henry mess with it before. All I needed was the passcode. I thought it wouldn't be right to let Robert essentially execute her himself.
I'll do it. Rob? Yes. Don't let these fuckers get to the surface. Promise me that much. I promise.
Her abdomen started bulging out. She screamed in pain as the worms started tearing open her stomach.
Captain, the code.
He told me the numbers, and I input them without hesitating. Years of watching people suffer a prolonged death, knowing that we could do nothing but pointlessly extend their lives, had desensitized me to pulling the plug. Immediately, hatches opened up on the walls and alarms sounded as water started pouring in, but since the hull had already been partially breached, they quickly collapsed in on themselves. In a few seconds, Jennifer had died.
Let's get out of here.
We ran back towards the central area. We had to transverse the entire station to get towards Section A. It was the only remaining escape, but as we got to the offices, we could hear something moving within the walls, knocking their way through the pipes.
The pumps! They're getting into the fucking pumps!
Talos's pumps were ancient machinery compared to the rest of the station. As the dome was inserted, they needed to move tons of water outside against the immense pressure. But after finishing the station, they had been long since forgotten, left inside the walls while they installed more permanent solutions. Before we could react, the walls broke open and the Syncytium poured itself through the holes, taking the shape of malformed flesh extending rapidly alongside the walls. We were cut off from our escape with only the office available as temporary refuge from the oncoming swarm of worms and flow of flesh. But our safe haven would quickly become nothing more than another prison to extend our survival.
It won't hold them for long. What now?
Robert went straight for his desk, pulling out a pistol from the top drawer.
You brought a gun to the bottom of the ocean? You didn't? Never know when you might have to quell a mutiny.
Tell I wasn't amused. We both knew a gun wouldn't slow them down significantly, but any help was welcome. He continued, I assume the gun's for them. I assume those bullets aren't meant for the worms. That wasn't his intention.
Right.
He continued to rummage through the closets in the room, eventually pulling out 2 unused hazmat suits, just like the ones I had used while inspecting Mike.
It kept you safe inside the airlock. The worms couldn't penetrate the suit, right?
Robert asked me with pleading eyes.
Look, they breached the EPM suit, made of fucking metal. I don't think these will make a big difference. Might slow them down, but that's it. It's our best shot.
The worms had started to pile up on the door, forming a contracting mesh, slightly cracking the glass.
It's now or never. James better have the damn sub ready to go.
Robert said as we got into the suits. He fired a shot, not at the door, but at the tempered glass wall beside it, shattering it to 1,000,000 cubical pieces as we jumped through. Stumbled to the ground, a few worms getting onto my hand as I stood back up. Robert pulled them off me and shoved me forward. We spurted for the entrance to Section A. We were far faster than the worms, but they had formed a mesh covering most of the ceiling and dropped down on top of us for each step we took. Another hole in the wall burst open directly above the airlock towards Section A, causing another slump of meat to land in front of the door.
Shit!
Robert yelled as he instinctively pulled his weapon and fired at the mass on the floor. I froze in place as the worms disintegrated from the bullet's impact, reforming, hastily crawling towards us. I tried to turn away and run, but I didn't reach it in time. To my surprise, the worms completely ignored my presence and headed straight for Robert, pouring onto him from all directions, pulling him to the ground. He screamed in agony as they formed around his limbs, making him unable to fight back. I hurried towards him and tried to pull them off, but for each worm I removed, 100 others joined in. Within seconds, they managed to tear a hole at the armpit region of his suit. He immediately wriggled themselves in through the hole. I tried desperately to pull him up, but he shoved me away as he realized there wasn't any hope left for him.
Get out of here, Doc!
He gargled as the blood started to fill in his lungs. I didn't even hesitate. Painfully, I ran for my life while the Syncytium was too distracted by consuming Robert. No matter what I had done, he was already dead. The hallways narrowed drastically as I once more returned to Section A. I frantically tried to input the code to close the airlocks. It took me 2 attempts with shaky fingers to get the correct code, but within a second, the door sealed, and I was once more separated from the abomination on the other side.
I'm so sorry, Robert.
Central Dome finally gave in under the pressure. Massive streams of water quickly collapsing the ceiling. The station fell apart and the central power was annihilated under the flood. Plunged into darkness and silence, I ventured further towards the docking station. While each section of Talos supposedly had their own backup generator, for some reason it hadn't been activated yet in that section, making it hard to navigate through the narrow labyrinth of hallways.
Can anybody hear me?
Called, my voice echoing endlessly. I bumped my head as I saw a light appearing in the distance. James came running towards me holding a flashlight.
Doc, you're still with us? Thank God!
He said, his joy quickly fleeting as he realized I'd come alone.
What happened? Where's Jin? And the captain?
I just shook my head in response. No words could convey what had happened at the dome. Their absence proved enough about their unfortunate outcome or futile escape attempt.
No time to worry about that now. We need to get out of here. The capsule is just about ready to leave for the surface. We only need Henry to figure out how to get the power back.
When we arrived at the docking station, I was relieved by the increase in ceiling height, if only ever so slightly. Henry was busy at work on the control panel, trying to figure out what had kept the power from the backup generator. Abby, standing behind him with a flashlight.
God damn it! Something has torn away the backup generator. Not sure how, but I'm sure I know what. Fucking abysmal demon spawn! Between the lack of power and the damaged hull, the sub can't release from the station. Essentially, we're stranded here.
None of us spoke a word, trapped in a tin can 20,000 feet below the surface with no transport. After what felt like an eternity, Henry finally broke the silence.
They're all great ideas, but that won't work.
He said sarcastically in response to our lack of solutions.
Well, do you have any ideas then, genius? As a matter of fact, I do.
He walked into the capsule and started messing around with the electronics, eventually pulling off one of the panels.
There are 3 batteries powering the sub. And the way I see it, I could take one out, and it should still have enough power to get to the surface.
Us?
I need to connect the battery to the airlock.
He continued as he pulled one of them out of the capsule.
Then I'll override the door. I'll blow open the pressure, and a resulting wave of water should forcefully eject the sub. What about you? Well, someone has to stay behind to follow through on this plan.
Let me do it then.
No, you idiot. One wrong connection and the door fries. Locking forever. And I'm the only one with the expertise.
There has to be another way.
There isn't. Trust me.
This is your bootlicker. This is the guy you call the bootlicker. What do you have to say about that now? What do you have to say about that now? Look at you.
I'm a bastard.
You called him a bootlicker and a bad guy. Now he's like, I'm the only one who can do this. I have to drown myself down here. I like to think that
he learned a little something from Mike. He joked around there, sarcastic, trying to break the tension. He evolved as a character. I like him. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to say?
You called him a bootlicker, and now he's dying to save everyone.
Yeah, well, I also just said I was wrong, bitch. Mm-hmm. So there it is.
All right, whatever. The story has a lot of sacrifice, from Mike locking himself inside to the captain going, and now him, Henry. James and I looked at each other, both wanting to speak up, but neither able to come up with an alternative solution. Henry went back into the transport capsule and sealed the panel shut again.
I wish you were all smarter. Maybe one of you could have stayed behind.
He said as sarcastically as ever, but for the first time with the slightest smirk on his face.
Thank you. Yeah. Time for you to go.
He said as he shut the door to the capsule. We watched as Henry walked away for the last time, ready to face his fate, an asshole to the bitter end, but one with a kind heart. Like his other perished crewmates, he would forever remain at the ocean basin, never again witnessing sunlight. Time went on forever while we waited for a wave of water that might just as likely crush us in an instant, but with a ton of luck, we'd be ejected out from the station, and from there, we could reach the surface. It would be the most violent takeoff in the station's history, but also the last. Minutes later, we heard the sound of the airlock opening before shattering to pieces under the immense pressure of exploding water and syncytial flesh. It only took about 10 seconds for the wave to hit us, and we shoot out from Talos, the hallway behind us falling apart as we did. It hit us hard, roughed us up a bit, but we survived. James took control of the vessel and didn't hesitate to start ascending towards the surface. Abby and I stared out the tiny window. On the other side, we could see the utterly crushed remains of Talos, dimly illuminated by the light still powered up by the generators at Section C, which had been completely covered by the flesh of the syncytium. The thousands of corpses of fish that previously littered the ocean floor had been cleaned up and were now a part of the ever-growing monster from the abyss. A wave of relief washed over me, with my heart calming down for each foot of our ascension. I no longer felt the need to constantly look out the window. The world outside was dark, and whatever life once remained down there had been consumed alongside my longing for the ocean. Once we reached a depth of 5,000 feet in the middle of the midnight zone, we managed to establish contact with the USS Orion, called for an emergency evacuation. They were quite the distance away, but by the time we'd reached the surface, they would pick us up, albeit curious as to what happened in the depths. At 3,000 feet, the first rays of daylight greeted us with the warmth of the sun. The ocean started filling up with peaceful life, fish thriving in the waters, completely ignorant to the horrors that existed directly below them. The vast darkness turned to a calming blue, and for the first time since being hired for this mission, I felt safe. Before long, we breached the surface and were greeted by a team wearing hazmat suits as we boarded the ship. We had been unable to alert them to the situation. All they knew was that a potential contagion existed in the depths, one we could have brought back with us, so understandably they locked us in the sick bay, isolated from the rest of the crew. For 72 hours, they pricked and prodded at us, taking multiple blood samples and even a CSF probe. After they all returned normal, no sign of sickness was apparent, they led us into more comfortable living arrangements as we set for shore. After being released from the sick bay, I hardly saw James and Abby. They spent most of their time in their rooms, only coming out for the occasional interrogation. Headquarters were incredibly curious as to how a state-of-the-art installation suddenly collapsed, so we had absolutely no proof of the events that had transpired. They needed someone to blame, but as a part of the CDC, not the original Talos crew, I was safe from prosecution. All that was required of me was to sign a non-disclosure agreement, one I'm breaking now to warn you about the horrors of the abyss. We know more about what exists in outer space than we do about the life in our own oceans, and that's how it should remain forever. These creatures, this Insidium, can't be killed. As long as one single cell remains, it would be enough to restart their hives, and I fear that with the consumption of Talos, they have learned about life on the surface. Now that I'm posting this, I'm heading for the Center of Disease Control. I can feel the worms wriggle. I knew it! I knew he was infected! I knew he was infected. I was like, that was way too clean of a way to escape. Yes, okay. I can feel the worms wriggling inside my chest as I type this, ready to burst at any moment. I guess the suit didn't protect me after all. I hope James and Abby are safe. They get a second chance at living a happy life. I'm so sorry for all of this. For what's to come.
End. Isaiah.
That was so fun. What a fun story.
It's fun. I don't know. I'm saying this not as a negative, but I'm disappointed. I want more. It's like one of those stories where it's like the disappointment comes from like I wanted so much more from that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent first part. Maybe one of the most effective first parts of a story we've ever read. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think that like this story would have benefited greatly from just more meat. Like, I mean, the biggest thing is we go down with Mike, we get his footage. And then from there, we basically see like the smooth cave with the holes. These organisms, these worms are technically, from what if I remember right, is like the first organism on Earth, and they've just survived everything. So like technically, this is the first thing to ever live.
Or they were the only one to survive like mass extinction events and stuff like that.
Right, true. Yeah. So there's that, but then there was like weird cryptic writings on the walls to where it's like, are they like able to write these things?
That implies to me they have an intelligence. Like they learn, because he mentions at the end, I fear after consuming Talos, they know about life above. I think it's kind of like a hive mind thing.
Well, I wish there was just more put into that, and I wish that we had more. Like they set up all these great characters. Henry is a great character. That's like kind of a hard ass that takes his job seriously, and then at the end he evolves into like a guy, which I mean he always had a heart, but it was just like the stern asshole that had to like keep shit on track, whatever. But he's a selfless saint,
and he died.
And even like the captain, I mean like the captain, good guy, and even like James, I mean all of them, Abby, Jen. All great characters. I wanted just to know more about them. I think like one thing that this story would have benefited from is like more time talking about like, I guess just like there's a lot of setup for things that just don't have tons of payoff, like just like the idea of people going crazy and stuff. Like could have danced around the idea of like, is there something out there? Isn't there something out there? Cause it's just kind of immediately like, this is what it is. Right.
Yeah. I would be totally fine with this being a much longer story.
Oh yeah. And that's just that's where the majority of the criticisms come in for me, is just like you set up a lot of things that don't have a huge payoff. But that within itself, I love the idea, like the narrator, the doc, the worms in his chest at the end. It's like you can see it coming, but it's still just satisfying to be like, of course he's infected. And you have to assume that maybe even James and Abby are. Who knows? We don't really know what happened. I mean, there's no contact, but with the doc and the submarine with them, did anything happen? Who knows? It was really, really fun. Really enjoyed this one, man. So creepy. And then too, the visual of like thinking, like looking out of a little porthole and seeing a giant wave, like a carpet of flesh, and there's just like dead whales and other fish conjoined in with it, and it's just like covering the section A and B of this building of Tardos.
Yeah, it's like the visuals were so good. It blends off so many sci-fi elements, but also kind of like I mean it reminds me of movies like Alien, right? Like the isolation, but there's a creature and they're trying to kill it. What was that one movie about? There was a life form on a space station that was absorbing people. Life. Do you remember that movie? Did you watch that? I think it was just called Life.
I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah. It was called Life. Yeah. There was this thing. It started out as a little cell, but then it started to like consume people and like become this larger biomaterial. Yeah, this story reminds me of that a lot. But I love that, the idea of like an isolating thing that you're trapped there with it. There was an underwater movie with Kirsten Stewart, the one at the end, I think it was just called Underwater, where at the end it was like Cthulhu that was down there.
Yeah. I saw the tail end of that. Allison was watching and I saw the tail end of it, but I didn't know if I needed to watch it for myself to see the sound, the ringing that people have heard. What was it called? The bio
twang.
The bio twang. Was that just the fish head that was in the wall, or was there ever really a reasoning for that?
I think it's saying that's just the noises that the worms make somehow to attract things down to them. It's like an anglerfish's lure, like trying to pull people towards it, or other fish towards it, because they just feed off of any mass.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. I really love that. I like the idea too that the kind of harrowing line of like now that the Syncytium are on the vessel on Tardos, that it knows that there's life on the surface. Like it's going to keep going up because it knows that there's more up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just really enjoyed that. I don't know. All in all, I mean, like, I don't know. It was fucking great. Really, really fun story, man.
That was what I love about this show so much. And I mean, I guess it's just stories in general, right? But we get to jump around. Like the last week was a church in the middle of the woods. And, before that we've covered cults, we cover supernatural, we cover far future and stuff like that. Like there's so many different cool settings you can tell neat horror stories through. This one reminds me a lot too of the one we did. I'm the other astronaut on this mission died. Like you can just do so many interesting things with stories. It's so cool to see what people who are just writing stories for the love of the game are able to put together. It's great. I really love this story. This was a banger. Short, sweet. I wish it was longer. But for what we had of it,
selfishly,
I loved it.
I just want, selfishly, I wish I wanted more, but that was just me being greedy, a greedy little pig. I will say at the end of part 3, there is a link to Richard Saxon, who is the author, his Facebook, which we'll leave that link there as well in case you want to follow him and maybe any updates that he does have.
He also
with some of his
posted
stories.
that he's finished a novel. This was 2 years ago, so I don't know current status, but he's finished a novel that is currently undergoing edits. The name of the novel is The Walls of the Basement Used to Talk to Me Growing Up, which is a cool name.
I like that.
Yeah, but this guy writes a ton of stuff about like creepy woods, some about sci-fi, stuff like that. So yeah, check him out. We'll have his stuff linked in the description. I certainly want to check out. Oh, he has another underwater one called I'm a Rescue Diver Specialized in Underwater Caving. We discovered something horrible in the depths.
We'll have to read that one too. That's just, the ocean is such a haunting place. And it's cool too, because I feel like a lot of times we've had a lot of like camp ones. There's a lot of stuff of just eerie, like home creepy paranormal stuff. So diving more into the ocean would be just a treat for me, at least. I love the setting of that. It's just very, very haunting. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode or watching this episode on YouTube. Thank you to all of our audio listeners on on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you listening there, giving us a nice rating. It does help us out a lot. And of course, to our beautiful patrons who also got this episode ad-free. So appreciate you so much, guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. And as always, we will see you in the next one. Stay creeped, bitches. Bye.
Don't get eaten by worms. Unless you want to, I guess. Bye. 2013, 2014, when a bunch of horror YouTubers started to make like audio videos about it. People like Mr. Creepypasta, Creeps Mix Pasta, and stuff like that. So 1999 has definitely like inserted itself into the quote unquote important early creepypasta works.
Yeah, that cultural zeitgeist of just like pivotal early internet horror stories.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. It was 2009 is very early.
Yes. Yeah. It's one of the earliest ones. I remember this being one of the first ones I heard about when I started like getting into it myself. And there's good reason. It's a very interesting story that I, of course, am not familiar with at all.
Yeah, I want, as is per usual. Actually, I feel like it has to be a continuous theme here. I have never heard of this. I don't know what this is. So once again, going in blind. If anything, this is all it is. It's like basically internet horror historian and then random man off the street is what this podcast is become.
Hey, well, you get to enjoy all of it for the first time. Now, I will say with this episode, I'm actually not familiar with 1999, so this will be this will be an interesting episode for me, I think. So I'm definitely excited to see how this one goes. So I'm interested as well. I'm right there with you.
I'm stoked. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. Which it starts off by saying, in quotes, "The year is 1999.
Let's go. I'm so excited. Also, to everyone who is here, remember to keep doing the thing you're doing on audio platforms because more people keep finding us over there, and that's pretty cool. So, if you want to keep that up, thanks. If not, well, I don't care.
I just like when people listen to us regardless, but the audio platforms on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, the numbers have been awesome, and we've been seeing a lot of positivity there. So if you want to go give us a listen there and give us a nice little rating and stuff, it means the world to us.
Absolutely. Mwah. You all are fantastic.
Hugs and kisses.
Sometimes I'll be talking in Hunter about the show and stuff, and Hunter's like, I just can't stand, these people who watch our videos and talk about us and make edits of us and stuff. I just wish I could grab their tender little necks and just break them and it'd just be over. And I'm like, no, these people, they're important to me, and you all really are. So I appreciate that.
It's true. And I want to say, to all of the, which actually I want to clarify and say, I did not say any of that.
Yeah,
I say
he said it's true. You heard him. He said it. He said it.
No.
Take back. He said it.
No. All of the fan edits and stuff have been really, really funny. And we want to say, I check out the Reddit and stuff and see all of the memes going on there and all the different kinds of edits too. And it's really, really, really cool to see. So I look forward to all of them. So please keep making them and making my belly jiggle with laughter.
Yes, and I'm not going to add the part about making his belly jiggle because that feels weird, but keep making me laugh in a normal way.
1999 too is this is peak Limp Bizkit. So if at some point there is some kind of Limp Bizkit reference, I'm going to be very, very excited.
I will say this has nothing to do with 1999, but one time I was reading, I think I read it it was for a video. It was this online ARG called the Hypnagogic Archives, and there's a part where characters in whatever year Smash Mouth's Astro Lounge came out. So it's whatever the characters in whatever year that is, and he's like, reminds me of the hit song All Star by Smash Mouth midway through the story. So I'm sure we'll have a moment like that in this story. Don't you worry.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's like the guy wrote it, and he was like, "This is a timeless reference.
This will never ever age.
Bop forever."
It certainly won't wind up in a popular DreamWorks film and ruin its reputation forever.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get into it. I'm so ready. Let's begin.
I am too, man.
The year is 1999. That sentence brings me back to my senior kindergarten class when I was 5 years old, where we used to read out the date on the blackboard every single day. The year 1999 exists as a stain in my mind. However, as a memory that will not go away no matter how I try to forget it. 1999 marked the year I lost my first tooth, my first time on a plane, and unfortunately, the early loss of my childhood innocence. The one memory that refused to be wiped, it all started with that new or old TV. At the time, Pokemon was the latest fad to hit the school. Pokemon cards, games, stickers, and the most popular, the TV show. So, of course, every time I came home from school, I would stay glued to the TV until Pokemon came on at 5. The only problem was that my dad watched the news at 5:30, and Pokemon episodes were back to back, which meant I had to miss an episode every day, something I whined on and on about. My dad got tired of hearing me complain every day. That must be why he went and bought another TV. My dad put the TV he bought in my room. Unfortunately, it was just an old, small boob tube, with rabbit ears even. It also only had 20 channels available. not including the channel Pokemon was on. I recall I didn't care though. I was just thrilled I had my own TV in my room. After surfing through the channels, I came to the conclusion that only channel 2, TVO Kids, was worth watching, so I watched that for a while. It wasn't for another few months until I discovered channel 21. One day in April, I was flipping through the channels, trying to see if Pokemon was on. I pressed channel 21 into the remote, hoping there were more channels. And to my delight, there was. My dad was surprised too, but he let me watch it because it seemed to have kids' programs on. The channel was called Caledon Local 21, and later I found out it was indeed broadcasted from the town of Caledon, Ontario, a town very close to my city. The shows I saw on Caledon Local 21 looked poorly made, and I never understood what was going on in them half the time. However, as I grew up, every time I thought of that channel, I realized more and more how messed up the shows were, and I had to ask myself, oh, this is a quote. Do you want to do the quote?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I want to take it from you.
What the fuck was I watching?
Thank you. There's not a ton of quotes in this story,
Yes.
so I don't want to rob you of that moment. Of course.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And then after that, we get into our first show. But so far, what do you think of it? How are you feeling?
I mean, it feels similar to that Channel Zero thing, kind of about like some kind of show or some kind of like archetype where children are watching some kind of various programs, and it's a lot more fucked up than what they remembered, or even like as kids, it might have messed with them. It's kind of the direction I'm going, but I'm not sure.
It reminds me, like premise-wise, it reminds me a lot of Candle Cove.
There you go, Candle Cove. Yep, because that was the whole thing. That was like the pirate one, right?
Yes, yeah. The whole thing
Yes.
is that all these kids remember a show, but then their parents are like, "Oh no!" Whenever you were staring at the TV, it was just static. And like the end twist is that the television was like transmitting these signals straight to them. That one's written by Chris Straub, and he's like one of the Mount Rushmore heads of early internet horror. So like I think he's incorporated it into some of his other writings and stuff like that. But yeah, the core premise of the original Candle Cove story reminds me a lot of 1999.
I even just like the theme of like coming home from school and wanting to watch something. Obviously, we haven't gotten into it, but I like the idea of like it's a very intimate moment, or like that. Even I remember that coming home, and it's like your kind of like ritual that you do, and like the relationship between you and these shows is something where it's like therapeutic, cathartic, all kinds of different feelings, and then to kind of put that twist, it's just fun.
Yeah,
I always just like that, but I'm stoked.
I agree. All right, so let's get into the first one. April 1999, Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 12. Very sketchy name if you were to look at it nowadays. The show featured a guy wearing a bear mascot costume who would get a new visitor into his cellar every day.
Oh,
It was
God. God. Good Lord. Oh, no, and not the next abbreviations.
Here we go, Hunter. Are you ready?
I guess so, dude. Good Lord.
It was always a kid.
Always a kid, huh?
It was always a kid. So here we go. The Baraska train is in station once again.
God.
It was always a kid. The show was filmed with a camcorder, and not a very good one either. The police asked me a lot of questions about this show. This episode started with Mr. Bear sitting at a table playing checkers by himself. He sat there playing for a bit until there was a knock on the door. The camera was then looking up the stairs at the door, where there was another knock. Mr. Bear climbed the stairs and opened the door to reveal two young children. One was a boy about my age, and the other was a girl who looked about 8. Mr. Bear danced in delight, and then started talking to the kids. I couldn't hear any of them that well. I remember Mr. Bear then led the kids into the cellar, which was quite dark, only lit by a small oil lamp on the table. I can't really remember that much more, except him singing a song which I couldn't hear too well either, probably because of the large bear mask. The episode ended with them playing hide and seek, with the kids hiding in a closet and Mr. Bear counting.
Oh, my Lord.
How you feeling?
Oh, my Lord. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That kind of, I was like,
I got a bad taste in my mouth. I felt a little something crawl up my spine there. You know what immediately made me think of aesthetically was like the Poughkeepsie tapes. Like that
yes, kind of yeah, the Poughkeepsie tapes. It's like
the very infamous one where it's like it's like the guy crawling down the steps in the basement and stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Also, how cryptically vague everything is. Also, it's like recalling these things. It feels like it's like recalling a dream or something. It's just ugh. We don't know the intentions yet, you know what I mean? And it makes it so much worse.
That's one of the most effective parts about the story to me is that, like, it's all relayed through just what the kids saw. So all of the intentions and things like that, you're kind of left to ponder with yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's something so menacing about that ending, too, that they were playing hide and go seek and the kids were hiding in the closet with Mr. Bear counting. It's like what happens, you know, after the cameras go off, right? If that's where the episode ended.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing that caught me was one sentence there, which is just the police asked me a lot of questions about this show. Just that one little thing right there of like introducing a whole other story element of like, okay, obviously there's some kind of investigation going and like other people must have heard about this thing. You know what I mean? Like it adds like a whole new layer of intrigue or just like another layer of depth to the story, which I think is just really cool.
Yeah.
But also too, just Mr. Bear, you know, obviously the child aesthetic mixed with horror is as old as time itself, but still just the idea of an adult, what I'm assuming is an adult in a bear suit doing this is just fucking mortifying.
Yeah. Oh, I should also mention, for you to suffer even more, there's been a bunch of people on YouTube in the years since this got popular who have made videos of all of this happening. So it's like an actual camcorder footage of a guy in a bear suit like running around with kids and stuff like that, and it's exactly as awful as you could imagine.
Oh well dude, that kind of like leads perfectly into the somebody sent Isaiah or Wendigoon the Ted the Caver, the Ted's Caving Journal thing.
Yes, yeah. So
we just wanted to give him a shout out too, and we'll put his link to his channel in the videos. But it is unbelievable, so good.
Yeah. So this dude, I haven't watched it yet because I'm gonna watch it on stream. I'm saving myself for the stream audience. But this guy showed up in one of my live streams and said, "Hey, I heard your all's episode you did over on Papa Meat about Ted the Caver, and I decided to make it into a series. And the series looks fantastic." So yeah, really cool that he did that. We'll throw it down in the description. But yeah, love seeing creativity like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, let's keep moving on.
Yeah. Keep rocking with it. But before we continue with the show, I want to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor, Aura. If you're anything like me, then you've probably used your name, address, email address, and password all over the internet without thinking much of it. And while sure, that can certainly make life easy, it also makes it easy for bad people to get away with doing bad things with your information. I mean, recently, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records were just released onto the dark web. And all the things they recommend to keep that from happening, like monitoring your account or strong passwords or fraud alerts, are all taken care of by Aura. Aura will expose identity brokers who are using your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Anytime you use your information online, there's a chance that some of that data can fall into the hands of telemarketers or robocallers or some other kind of scam. And these data brokers that hold onto that information are legally required to lose it if you ever ask them to. However, the process to do so is very convoluted and tricky because that's how the scam works. But Aura is here to throw a wrench in that. Aura scours the web to see if any of your information has fallen into the wrong hands, and with the click of a button, you can say that you want the scammer to lose your information, and Aura will do the hard part and submit the opt-out request on your behalf. Not only will this make your identity more secure, but it will also opt you out of things like telemarketer calls or junk mail lists. Aura even monitors your email and passwords to see if they were a part of a data breach, and then gives you advice on what to do from there. When I first started using Aura, I found out that my personal email had been a part of a data broker scam since 2022. And thanks to Aura, I was able to get that cleared up all at once. So as a personal endorsement, Thank you, Aura, for not making me go on whatever journey that was about to be. On top of that, the Aura app has a VPN, a password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, and it even protects your devices from malware. The Aura app even has family tools, like preventing harmful websites from popping up and monitoring screen time. Aura is pretty much every internet safety tool you could ever need in one app. The internet can be a good thing, especially when you use your time on the internet to support whatever harebrained scheme I come up with. So let Aura be your shield from those who want to make something bad out of all the good. And right now, there's never been a better time to get in on this offer. That's because if you head to the link in the description at aura.com/creepcast, you'll be able to try Aura for 2 weeks absolutely free. That is right, 14 days of Aura for free. Sadly, you're probably going to be surprised by all the information they find of yours just out there on the internet. But with Aura, you can get that taken care of, and with the offer in the description, you can give them 2 weeks to prove themselves. Again, that's head to aura.com/creepcast to get in on this fantastic internet defense tool today. Thank you all so much for watching the ad. Thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring the show. It really does mean the most. Hope you all check them out. Link is in the description, and we are back to the episode. May 1999. Soup and Spoon. I don't think this was even a show. I think it was more of a special movie thing. All I know is I stopped watching Caledon Local 21 for a while because I thought this show was too stupid, especially since Pokemon now came on at 4:30 and 5. I don't remember much of this, but it showed a can of soup and a spoon both attached to strings, swinging back and forth, as if someone was holding them and dangling them in front of the camera. Interestingly enough, the show was shot in a basement, which looked just like the one used in Mr. Bear's cellar. Like I said, I can't remember much. The only thing I can remember clearly was the end. The entire thing was only half an hour, and just included stuff I found stupid, such as the spoon chasing the soup around, trying to eat him. The ending showed a table and about 7 kids sitting around it, each with a bowl of soup in front of them. They were sitting and looking at the camera, but with confused, almost frightened faces. The cameraman then yelled at the can of soup in front of the kids and said,
"Spoons ready?"
And then it just stopped.
Interesting. Well, it's definitely setting up a theme here of obviously some kind of child abduction thing, but obviously like this weird 30-minute like puppet show is almost how I would describe that, right? With like the spoon and the soup, a weird puppet show. I do like the line, I thought the show was too stupid, especially since Pokemon now came on at 4:30 and 5. You know, like a kid just looking at this, he's like, what the hell is this? What the heck? This is dumb. He goes to the living room and watches Ash, a 12-year-old boy, like tackle Scyther or something like that. He's like, this is awesome. Now, this is what I need to be watching.
I think it's pretty... It works for me because a lot of the times, you know,
oh, totally.
With a story, you're trying to find ways to hide information from the characters, and have it just being a kid who like wasn't interested because he didn't realize how off-putting what he was looking at was. And instead, he just wanted to watch Pokemon, so that makes sense why he only saw some of it one time, right? It works. It works for the story.
It does, and I mean, I think the entire one thing that's been really effective so far is just these really strong like last 3 or 4 sentences. Yeah. Of each of these descriptions. Like the ending showed a table and about 7 kids sitting around it, each with a bowl of soup in front of them. Just, it's so simple, but just so like unsettling. So just eerily unsettling.
It's one of the like, I don't know how much of it was intentional on the author's part. I think a lot of it, but sometimes I feel like even the quick delivery of the sentences, like how immediate they are, like it's very factual from the kid's point of view, goes to better serve the idea it's a kid who's not really processing what he was looking at. Because like if you or I found a local television show that was like in a basement with children, it would immediately be like red alert. But the kid just kind of watched it and was bored by it, which is, it's so menacing.
Well, I mean that's what I'm even thinking about. If I was a kid, I'd probably do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be looking at like my Dragon Ball Z DVD thing and being like, why the fuck am I watching this stupid shit? I could be throwing this in my PS2 and just like living La Vida Loca. You know what I mean? Like, but especially that's just like the mind. That's just like the interesting thing of like the mind of a child, where it's just like you don't have those like those like actual being able to process like shit that you're seeing. It's just like all surface level. So you're just like, well, this is boring, but you don't understand like how even to the extent too, to where it's like, why would you ever bring it up to your parents? You know what I mean? Oh, that show's stupid. You know, well, why?
Why would
it's
you
just
tell an adult?
a puppet show? Yeah, exactly.
I also think that, to me, that's one of the most frightening concepts you can do in horror, not just like involving kids, but specifically involving like your memories around childhood. Like, did those things that happened to you actually happen the way you think you did, or are you just misremembering?
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean,
that messes with me a lot.
Yeah, and I think the idea that it's like you can't even trust yourself in your own narrative, I think is extremely disturbing. Extremely disturbing. It's like especially like dementia. Like me getting dementia when I'm older, which I know it's going to happen, and I'm very bummed about it. I can feel it. I think like it's the idea that it's like you can't even remember, or you're losing track of your own self, or you can't even trust yourself is so frightening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks interesting here too, because that went from April, May, and the next one's in July, so he skipped a month.
Yeah,
so the time is becoming a bit more sporadic.
Yeah, so these are like his memories of like, I remember this from April, I remember this from May, so now it's what he remembers from July. So the next one, July 1999, he says, it was summer, and I hadn't watched Channel 21 for a while, until one day when I slept over at my friend's house, and I decided to check it out again. My friend had gotten a TV in his room for his 6th birthday, so we stayed up very late. For us, 9:30 was very late, and watched TV. That's when I remembered Channel 21 and brought it up to my friend. We decided to see if it was on, and to our surprise, it was. They must have changed the broadcasting time. Now, a couple things to mention here. For one, 6, way too young to just have an unrestricted TV.
Yeah. Well, do you think so? In the era before internet's really readily available, I mean, but before this time, people that had their own TVs and stuff, I mean, like it was probably like, oh, you just can't have like a VCR or something to like watch bad movies or something. But even then, it's like, what was going to be on TV? You know what I mean? I'm just
I'll give you that in 1999 having a TV that showed like local PBS or whatever was very
especially
different. Because nowadays kids are going to
channels.
find Creepcast and going to find us talking about like child abductions
all kinds
and whatnot,
of crazy shit.
Yeah, we can't be having that.
Also here too, I just want to say that it's interesting where he said earlier that the broadcasting was from 4 to 9, and then he's like 9:30. Oh, they must have changed the broadcasting time.
Yeah.
No, I think it's definitely just whenever you flip it on, it's gonna be there for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So this.
Shit! It's another Mr. Bear seller. God damn it.
Anyway,
I don't like that.
They must have changed the broadcasting time. Mr. Bear Seller. This was episode 23. This episode was entertaining for my friend and me, mainly because it had swearing. However, now when I think of this episode, I realized something was definitely wrong when it was filmed. The episode started with the camera on its side, while it was facing Mr. Bear, who was walking upstairs to the cellar door. The camera then blacked out for about a second before fading in, back upright, and facing Mr. Bear. There was also another kid talking to him, but this kid looked about 11 or 12. He was talking to Mr. Bear for a while, but I couldn't hear well, again with the crappy camcorder, until the kid started raising his voice. The kid was saying how it was late and his sister had to go home. You could also hear more voices in the background. I remember Mr. Bear clearly saying,
"Get the fuck out, you're not invited,"
with the deep voice muffled by the bear mask. I remember my friend and I looking at each other and laughing at the mention of the forbidden F word, but the episode got weirder. The kid began climbing the stairs before turning around and saying how he was going to call the police. Mr. Bear began breaking into a run towards the kid, who started screaming and running as well. The camera then cut out, and that was the end of the episode. The channel then turned to static shortly after.
I want to say that even if I was a kid and I heard someone say fuck, because, I like the South Park movie and all that kind of stuff from back in the day. If I saw this, I would be horrified. Horrified as a child. To think like this thing is just like, get the fuck out of here, you're not invited. And the kids are like, it's so weird to me, dude.
I will say this.
So creepy.
I will say this. Do you think a 6-year-old could be young enough that they wouldn't process, they would still just see a funny bear costume, right? Maybe is 6
No, that's a good point.
The edge of like realizing this is weird. I don't know.
Sure. I think kids are smart enough to read body language or to understand that like one of the people in the room is clearly upset. I think that it does a good job about it though by saying that like all the audio is muffled or it's like hard to hear. But I still think I'm trying to think about like I feel like I would just be kind of creeped out, I think. Because it's kind of like it is a big bear and it's saying it like if it was like saying just because I don't know, it's hard to say. 6 is very young. It's hard to know.
I'll say
you're
this.
just so disassociated from it. Maybe I don't know.
I forget where it was, but the other day I heard the line: "The scariest thing that happens when you're a kid is when an adult suddenly gets very serious." And that always did freak me out. So maybe if that is kind of maybe the tick kids are looking for to get afraid, maybe the bear costume's hiding that. Maybe they can't tell.
Like they can't like actually read its body language because it has just like a giant mask on.
Yeah. Now I will say, the image. Oh my gosh!
Here we go, dude. I love it. Every episode.
Shut up!
Every episode.
You already. I wasn't thinking about it. I'm busy. I am working, honey.
Every time, dude.
Anyway.
It's Mr. Bear, run!
Shut up. I can't work under these conditions. Okay.
I'm freaking out.
I'm freaking out right now. All right. Yeah. So, anyway, scared kids. Yeah.
I will say, too, that this is like I really love this setup with the basement thing. Just as like a visual,
absolutely
like
terrifying.
visualizing it in my head. Like even that last one in July, the idea that the camera is like starting off on its side, like there was some kind of tussle is what I would assume that it's saying, right?
Yeah.
Like there was some kind of struggle or something and the tripod fell over. Mm-hmm. So good. And also, I don't know, are you picturing the basement? I'm picturing the basement with like kind of like almost like not dirt floors, but like that really shitty like cracked cement.
Yep.
Maybe like one light. It's kind of dimly, really old.
You
wooden
can hear the
stairs
constant like low echo of the underground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Love it. It's like I'm so in on this bear cellar vibe.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
It works pretty well, and like man, that image of him running up the stairs at the kid. Oh. Gosh,
horrible,
terrifying.
Especially just because of how fucking goofy a grown adult looks running in those giant ass suits.
Yeah,
his legs are kind of bowed because he can't just like run regular. So it's just even more cartoonish and weird. And and the kid even screams and runs away himself. And also to not keep dragging this on this part, but also whenever he says "get the fuck out, you're not invited," assumes that there's more people off screen who are like waiting on this quote unquote like party that he's throwing or something.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Mr. Bear's party.
Mr. Bear Cellar.
August 1999. I didn't want to watch Channel 21 after that. In August, I grew more conscious to see Mr. Bear Cellar for some reason, though. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was laughing over you singing the song.
You're all scared now.
I'm all riled. You done got me riled. All right. In August, I grew more curious to see Mr. Bear Cellar for some reason, though. The last episode I saw of Mr. Bear was weird and had swearing, which also made me think the show was meant for teenagers. Nonetheless, I flipped onto Channel 21 when my dad was busy. That's also profoundly sad, how a kid sees how messed up that is and be like, oh, this must be for the bigger kids, right? Like he doesn't get how messed up it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Bear Cellar, episode 28. Apparently this episode had been playing the entire month of August. It was studied a lot by the police. The entire episode was just Mr. Bear sitting in a chair talking to the audience.
Hello, kids. Do you want to visit my cellar? If you do, please write me a letter at this address.
The screen then switched to a white screen with multicolored letters reading the address. And that was what remained for the rest of the episode. This repeated for 5 hours every day until September came. And guess what I actually did? I sent Mr. Bear, or that sick bastard who portrayed him, a letter. I did it out of curiosity mostly. My dad was okay with it because he thought it was a legit kids show. But then again, he never saw any of what was on Channel 21. So I wrote a letter using my best writing possible. I think I just said how I wanted to meet Mr. Bear. So my dad sent the letter to the address Mr. Bear said on the show. It stayed on all day anyway for some reason. It took about a week to get a response, which I was surprised I did. I still have the letter I received on August the 15th, 1999. The letter read,
Dear Elliot, thank you ever so much for your letter. I would love to have you in my cellar. We play games, watch movies, and go fire camping in the middle of the woods. Come to my house at,
the police cut out this address,
Caledon, Ontario, Canada. I look very forward to having fun with you. Love, Mr. Bear.
I cannot believe my dad never found this sketchy, because he actually took me to the house. And
What? What? What the what? What the fuck? What are you saying? Oh my god! Time out! Time out, Isaiah! Time out, please, God!
Hold on.
My word! I'm trying to wrap my head around that. He actually took you to the house. Okay, just keep going, and then we're almost done with this one, and we can actually see. I'm so curious to see.
And that's when the police became involved. Those endless questions, those pictures of terrified kids, the woods. That brings me to why I'm writing this blog. That psycho and his friends did some screwed up shit back then, and now it seems he's trying to get into contact with me again. The entire police thing is coming back. That has brought 1999 back to me. Over a decade later, it is happening again.
Oh. Ooh. So now he's going to be 16 in the update here. I will say, okay, my God. My God. Talk about, get this child away from this dad, by the way.
Hold on. Let's frame it, right? Because we know what's happening, but he said specifically his dad never saw the station, right? So a 6-year-old
He never saw the station, but he is led to believe, sorry to cut you off, he is led to believe that he has read that thing, right? As an adult, if I got a letter in the mail from a TV studio, presumably an adult, and it said, Dear Elliot, thank you ever so much for writing a letter. I would love to have you in my cellar. We play games, watch movies, and go fire camping in the middle of the woods? Come to my house! What? It's like the dad's just like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Where do you need to go? What's the address? All right, I'll plug it in. I don't give a shit. Sure. Yo, Elliot, get your bag. We're going. He's like, he wants him out of the house. Yeah, I got TV to watch. That's why I bought that TV, so I could watch my shows. Unbelievable, dude. Even if you've never seen it, I'd be like, no. Who gave? We're not. You want to go to a cellar? We're going to. It doesn't even say come to the studio. It says come to my house. He's like, yeah, that seems that probably makes sense. That's where Jerry Seinfeld he films all those episodes in his apartment, so that makes sense. Unbelievable, dude. And then to have the gall afterwards, where it's like he actually took me to the house. You're like, what? And then it says, and that's when the police became involved. Is the next sentence, dude? The next thing that is said is that's when the police became involved. Come on!
The police were there to arrest his dad for pregnancy.
They should have. Sir, this is child neglect. He's like, I didn't know what was going on. I just my son tells me to take him somewhere. I take him. I don't think about it. I just take him.
I was looking for my dog Whip. He's around here.
I was like, there's endless questions, and also here this paragraph ends with those pictures of terrified kids, the woods. ... Arrest the dad immediately is all I have to say. That is unbelievable. Which I do want to say, regardless of how terrible the fucking dad is I like the little over a decade later it's still happening. I love that little that little dangling the carrot.
So actually I believe, if I recall right, everything we just read was the original post. And then everything we read from here on was updates he did in the following months. So everything we just read was where the original story ended.
Okay, but the first one was still posted in 2009, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, and this was just him updating. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so the next log, ladies and gentlemen, isn't until November 14th of 2009, so it literally is almost exactly.
I need to run
later.
slight. Okay, we don't have the name of the child, I don't think, but the author's name's Camden Lamont, so I'm going to call the child Camden. I'm going to run slight interference for Camden's dad. Okay.
No, it's Elliot. It's Elliot.
Oh, he did have a name. All right, I'm stupid.
Yeah, because
Elliot.
the bear, he wrote the child, the 6-year-old child.
Dear Elliot, you're right. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm done. Okay, so I'm gonna run slight
I cannot
interference.
wait. I cannot wait to hear this defense, dude.
Okay. Hear me out, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The father has not watched the program, correct?
Yeah.
He has just heard his kid like, oh, I watched this show about Mr. Bear and he plays with kids or whatever, right? He thinks that's all it is. It's a local show, right? Which means it's somewhere around the region. So the kid's like, hey, can I send a letter to this TV show? And dad's like, sure. So he sends a letter. Letter comes back. And yes, while I will admit to the jury that the word seller is weird and that probably should have raised an eyebrow, he's also heard that the TV show is called Mr. Bear's Cellar. So, say it was Elmo's Playhouse, right? If the letter said, I want you to come to my playhouse, that would seem normal. The dad didn't send his child in that direction. He was there with him. Like, the dad's like, all right, we'll check it out. And he walks up with his son, and then the police become involved. Maybe the dad saw something. Maybe the police were already there. Who knows? But again, I will have that slight caveat about it.
I just want to say that I have to question now if you yourself are Mr. Bear, because that's what that defense sounded like. Because I want to say that, sure, he's never seen the show. If I would have sat there, let's say I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, and my kid says,
oh, it's a show about fighting. They power up.
Sure, right? Go to Master Roshi's island, he says. I'm like, well, that's a weird thing. And then it says, the next line says, come to my house? At what point would I be like, that's kind of weird. It's shot in a house. Well, yeah, I guess. I also think it's being presumptuous that you said that he's like, because with how neglectful he's been so far, I would almost assume this 90s father is just waiting in the car. All right, I'll be here. Have fun.
Hunter,
get on in there.
Hunter, those are gruesome allegations, and I don't stand for it myself.
All I'm saying is I don't. Yeah, I believe at some point, and someone will probably pull up this image, I could have sworn that I've seen you with some kind of giant teddy bear mask on, and I don't know. I don't know. Also, you are rushing to the defense of of this extremely quickly.
I don't know what you're talking about. The defense of what? I just think that he's a good father who's looking out for his... He just wants his son to have a good time, okay? That's all I'm saying.
All right. We'll see where this goes, Mr. Bear. We'll see where it goes.
All right.
That's gonna be your new nickname, dude. I'm not gonna. No longer are you Win the Good in my eyes. You are literally Mr. Bear. Is how I see this. Also, you talked about how you seen dead bodies in real lives and stuff. Dude, Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear.
Okay. I know I'm a YouTuber, but that doesn't mean I'm a pedophile. Let's get that clear. I know those two often intersect.
Ugh.
My line in the sand.
Oh, God.
All right. No. Update 1. November 14th, 2009. People have been emailing me asking what exactly happened in 1999. I'll get to that. Those weird TV shows I was watching apparently were meant to attract kids to Mr. Bear's house. What Mr. Bear did shocked the entire town. My dad actually drove me to Caledon along with the address Mr. Bear left on the letter. The house was actually in the outskirts of the town, in the open farmland. I still remember that house. It looked like an older farmhouse that looked to have been built in the early 1900s. The windows were all boarded up, and the house looked in a state of disrepair. As we walked up to the house, I remember my dad checking the address over and over again and looking at the house in disbelief. Then the door opened. I'm sorry, did you have something you wanted to add?
I just can't believe that.
What?
The entire house is boarded up, and the dad's like, "Is this the right? Is this right? Okay, well, I guess we'll go in.
Yo, is this where Kimber's funeral is?
Hey, is this where Mr. Bear Seller's at? Yes, this is where
Kimber's mom. Is this where Kimber's
Yeah.
mom's funeral?
Yeah.
Yo, they got sandwiches in here.
Yeah. Oh, yo. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, the door opened. I expected Mr. Bear to be at the door, but I was surprised to see a police officer emerge from the creaking doorway.
Marcus.
Oh yeah, Marcus, yeah. So what are you, some kind of Mr. Bear hunter?
I heard there's a big anamorphic bear walking around here.
Just all the story. It's just
Yeah, all of them just
falling
combine
in
one.
on each other.
All right, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Oh, look,
I'll
there
stop.
goes Whip. Oh, look at that. That's
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, do we take a ride up here, Bristol? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, before we go in the house, let me check my Facebook account. I got a message from my dead girlfriend.
Yeah, my dead girlfriend keeps messaging me on Facebook. All right, no, we're good. No messages. All right.
Wait, what's that? Are those giant chicken eggs on the porch? I hope the eyeless lady didn't leave those here. Okay. I'm good. I think that's all of them. I think
that's all of them, yeah.
References. Oh, wait, be careful. There's some stairs in those woods. So.
Yeah, there you go. Now we've
now
officially
we're
hit
good.
them all,
Now we're
yeah.
good. Yeah, all right. I expected Mr. Bear to be at the door, but I was surprised to see a police officer emerge from the creaking doorway. The officer began talking to my dad, while I quickly asked if that was Mr. Bear's house. The officer's face cringed slightly, and he muttered,
Oh, God.
"Did you have to do that in the Wabbit season voice?"
It's just a regular.
Oh God.
You can now
Is that better?
Oh
Now
God.
imagine that stupid. You know, I'm glad they took that video down.
Hey, come on, man.
That stupid rabbit
Hey, come on.
in a police
Hey,
officer's
Cod.
uniform. We are gonna get through this paragraph. Okay, hold on.
Yes.
Or something like that. He started talking quietly to my dad so I couldn't hear, although my dad told me to go to the car anyway. And then we just went home. My dad was quiet the whole way home. I felt something strange had happened. My dad never told me what happened for a while. I forgot about it anyway, too. Channel 21 no longer came on, and when I asked about it, my dad would not acknowledge its existence. I think it was when I was 13 where I learned the truth. I remember Channel 21 one day and asked my dad about it. I guess he finally decided I should hear the truth. Caledon Local 21 was a local TV channel that ran from October of 1997 to August of 1999 in the Peel region of Ontario. The entire channel was made from a house in Caledon, the one I visited, and run by a man who was not really known by anyone in the town. The channel was only available to older TVs because the signal was one only picked up by rabbit ears or weaker frequency. The man created all the shows on the channel, all of which were kids shows. He was Mr. Bear, and he was the mysterious cameraman. The real reason he created the channel was more disturbing than what was originally thought. As you might have already guessed, he kidnapped kids and held them in a cellar. But while most people thought he was a serial child molester, he really wanted to use the kids for another purpose. The day I arrived, the man had fled his house the night before. The day before, the police went in for their investigation. I wasn't the only one who was watching.
Interesting. So they haven't even caught him.
No, he's still out there somewhere.
Yeah, he's still out there somewhere. Ooh, the weird thing, too, of what do you think his other purpose was?
I don't know, man. It could really be anything. What do you think it was?
I don't know. I can't tell if it's veering into, like, child sacrifice, maybe? Of some sort. I'm trying to think of, like, a cellar and that kind of thing. Really, there hasn't been that much. I mean, obviously, I literally thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be, like, a molestation, murder kind of thing, but the another purpose makes me think that there's something. It just feels a bit more cryptic to where it's like I'm not sure. I mean, like my immediate other go-to is like, oh, sacrificial purposes of some sort, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll continue. There's another update.
So his thing too here is that he updated it, so it jumped from August of 99 to November 14th, 2009. So has he been the consistent age the entire time has he just been our narrator that's 16?
Yeah.
And this is him now in real time?
He's been our, because that original post, I'm not sure what date it was made, but it was in 2009. So it's him at 16 talking about the story, like what he saw as a kid. And now it's him updating after the first post was out.
Okay.
So our next post is December the 2nd of 2009. Update 2. Sorry for not answering any questions for so long. I haven't accessed my email account for some time. Anyway, let me finally set things straight about what I know. Back in October, I visited the house previously owned by the man who ran Caledon Local 21. 2 women lived there, operating a daycare business. How ironic. Now, to answer the questions you guys emailed to me. Question 1. Who else watched Caledon Local 21? I know other people watched it for sure, including those kids who wound up at Mr. Bear's house. After some Google searches, I found a few people on the NeoSeeker forums who were discussing shows from Caledon Local 21. They talked about the 2 shows I watched, but also another 2 shows I'd never seen before. A user named I Am Real Life seemed to know all the shows that were broadcasted on Channel 21. Here are the 2 I've never heard of. 1. The Fallen Angel in Life. I Am Real Life described it as a fairly boring show about a guy rambling on and on in front of the camera about how we must please Satan and appease him before it's too late. And the second show, Paint with a Soul, I Am Real Life and another user called Siggy92 were discussing this show. They described it as Blair Witch-like, as it consisted of the cameraman wandering around the forest at night, doing nothing particularly interesting. I'll go looking for the conversation and see if I can get the link. How do you feel after that first question?
Interesting. I mean, I think it helps. It kind of makes you push to solidifying the idea that there's some kind of worship or some kind of sacrifice going on here. And then it feels like the Paint with the Soul thing is definitely him. He's either potentially lurking around other people, like trying to find people, or there is some kind of thing out in some kind of forest that he is visiting. Some kind of altar, you know what I mean? Some kind of worshiping altar or something. I'm not sure.
I think what my theory is that it was a guy who initially figured out how to broadcast on a local channel no one watched. And maybe he began with stuff like The Fallen Angel in Life, where he's just like, oh, we have to do good for Satan. And then he learns sort of that a better way to go about it is the Mr. Bear broadcast, right? That like maybe he could hide himself a little bit. Not well, but at least to children. I'm
wondering too. Well, not only hide himself to children, but I'm also wondering instead of having to go out and look for people, or like assumably, I mean, like I'm making assumptions here, but break into people's houses and steal kids this way, it's like they come to him. You know what I mean? Like it's much more alluring that way. So yeah.
Question 3: Where is Mr. Bear, or the guy who wore the costume? If I did know, I would have said earlier. I have no idea where the guy is, or if he's dead or alive. Hopefully dead. When I see my dad's friend next time, I'll ask him about this. Maybe I can get a more definite answer. And then question number 4, what did Mr. Bear do to the children? This is by far the most common question I've been asked. I found this out in October as well, via my dad's friend who is a retired Caledon regional officer. Apparently, the man playing Mr. Bear took the kids out of the house and into the forest nearby. What he did there, police are not exactly sure how it happened, but 16 charred bodies of children between the ages of 4 to 13 were found in a 15 by 15 foot ditch deep within the forest. My dad's friend did not want to go into exact details, but I'm seeing him next Thursday anyway, so maybe I can extort more information from him then. That's all I have for now. Thanks for keeping an interest in my blog. I'll try to gather as much information as I can for my next post. I've actually been getting pretty interested in this myself. It should be my right to know what the hell happened.
Okay. So definitely some kind of, I mean, seems like he's taking people out there, sacrificing them for something. Now I'm wondering, more so my curiosity is leaning into, is there any actual paranormal significance that's going to happen, or is it just a madman? Because you know what it kind of reminds me of a bit? If you know Temple OS?
Oh, yes. Gosh, man, you just gave me a flashback, but yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. crazy religious guy making something, and he's just like hunkering down and posting it on the internet. But in the same way, it makes me think of like delusional man. If it's not paranormal, it's like delusional man, like weird Satanist guy thinks he has to appease probably some kind of weird voices in his brain or do some kind of, something along those lines. The connections are there. So I'm curious to see, is this going to go into a paranormal direction or not? It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely keeps, like, so far it hasn't fallen off anywhere, right? It kind of keeps attention. Like, sure, it's revealing stuff, like the children were killed, and there's some reference to Satan, but we still don't know enough specifics that it kind of gives away, right? It doesn't show its hand too quick. Update 4, right? Yeah, update 4. January 14th, 2010. I'm sorry I haven't posted anything for a while. I kind of lost interest in this blog since I hit a standstill while looking for more information about the identity of the owner of Caledon Local 21. However, a few weeks ago, I struck gold. I found some answers, surprisingly from the father of a kid I used to babysit. He lives just across from my street, and I used to look after his kids when they were younger. He currently doesn't have a job either. He used to live near the woods outside of Caledon and witnessed the owner's activities in the woods. His name is Anthony Polo. When he lived in the small bungalow outside the woods, he would often venture in to smoke a joint of marijuana or two before returning to his work as a wood craftsman. Polo described that sometimes he would hear voices of children coming from deeper within the woods, as well as a glowing light off in the distance. Polo told me that these events started in late 1997. No, this is around the time Caledon Local 21 began airing. He apparently became annoyed by this happening every once in a while and actually went to investigate. Polo then described what the whole scene looked like when he got there. There's a group of kids, he said about 13 to 17, and ages 5 to 12 gathered around a large fire pit with a burning fire. With them was a single adult. Polo talked to the man, noting his unkempt appearance of a crack addict as well as his constant twitching, and asked what he was doing out in the forest with children. The man said they were on a camping trip, something they did frequently. Polo, not suspecting anything...
God, dude.
God. You thought the dad was bad?
Jeez, I know, dude. Imagine seeing a crack addict looking guy twitching, and he's like, we're on a camping trip. And all the kids are like probably looking at him horrified. And he's just like smoking his joint. He's like, all right. This is the lowest crime rate in Canada.
Yeah, the next line's so funny. It says Polo, not suspecting anything, as Caledon has one of the lowest crime rates in Canada. Man, the idea of, like, you see like any single father who wants to do crack with his 17 children is a friend of mine.
We're just camping. we're camping. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell. We're just doing that, right? And he's like, the person he's like holding one of their hands, like squeezing it really hard. We're just having fun out here. Sorry, sorry about that. I'm sorry.
Well,
oh my God, dude. Read the rest of the sentence.
All right, next one. Simply left it at that and told them to be quieter.
Imagine he's like, all right, well, if you guys could stop throwing each other into the fire here and screaming and crying, and that'd be so nice, because I'm trying to. It's so hard for me to think with you guys screaming so much and talking. God, blocking me out, man. Anyways, yeah.
The idea of like a kid grabs his hand and it's like, please help me, mister. And he's like, will you pipe down? I'm trying to have a conversation with your father here.
You're so loud. You're so loud.
Quiet.
I can't hear myself think.
I want to talk to the crackhead. Let's make sure you're safe. Who is help? That's not my name. Stop asking for him.
Yeah.
Polo then paused for a while before telling me that they never became quieter. In fact, sometimes he heard loud chanting from the children in an unknown language.
Oh my God! What?
Those crackheads and their children.
I think that's Latin, dude. Isn't that a dead language? Oh man. Oh God. Oh God. He didn't bother meeting with the man again as he was moving away. I'm moving. I'm getting the hell out of here. So who cares?
He says he didn't bother meeting with the man as he was moving away anyway. What?
God, dude.
Talk to that guy.
Polo and the man's dad need to be arrested immediately. We're in a very tight race for the worst worst characters out of a story. Not badly written. I just mean just bad people that deserve to be in prison.
Losers.
Yes. Yes, there needs to be a tier list.
This is the worst part. Listen, I told Polo that the man was probably the owner of Caledon Local 21, but he doubted it, as he heard that the man was moving to Pickering by several other residents near that area. Bro.
No, I doubt that. No, I doubt it.
So anyway, I was in the woods and I found these 17 children ages 5 to 12 with this one man around a fire pyre. Oh, that sounds like the police case of the man with 17 children aged 5 to 12 around a fire. No, it doesn't check out because I heard that guy, someone told me he moved.
No, I have it on pretty good authority that guy's left, so probably not that.
I think you need to check your records because the ones I knew were chanting Latin and cutting themselves in a family-friendly fashion.
Plus those kids were bleeding from their eyes and chanting Latin, so I think they're sharp cookies. I doubt that was them.
I think they could have fought that guy off if that was him. So I think that was their dad, and he just really liked crack. Okay.
Who doesn't like a little hit of crack every once in a while? God, not a big deal. Good Lord.
Here's what I know now. The man would take the kids into the woods regularly for, quote, camping. The fire pit Polo described may be the hole the bodies of the children were found in. The children Polo saw are probably the ones found dead. Probably. Okay.
Yeah, I like all these, maybe the hole the bodies were found in, and Polo saw the children Polo saw are probably the ones found dead. It's I didn't, hey, don't think we need to be in fucking Inspector Gadget to realize that, yeah, these are the people that, come on, man.
It reminds me, I can't remember what it was. I'll send it to you if I can find it, but there was this YouTube video I watched one time where they were trying to prove this guy on TV was an individual who had a criminal record, right? So he shows the two side by side and they're clearly the same person. But then he spends 10 minutes as we can see, his name here is this, which matches his name here. But that's not all. They have the same social security number. But that's not all. We both see, and it got down to the point they were wearing the same shirt in two different photos, and he's still we
get it, it's the same guy!
And at the end, he's like, with this information, we can safely assume this is the same individual.
We can safely assume. God.
That's what this reminds me of. The man moved to a city called Pickering, a small city east of Toronto. I will discuss this with my dad's friend, the ex-cop, and see if this matches anything the police knew about the man. I also want to see if he has any other knowledge of what was aired on Caledon Local 21.
Surely we have to assume that the broadcasts are going to start coming back somehow, is what I'm going to assume.
I don't know. But we'll see. We shall see.
I see.
The next update. February 10th, 2010. Good news, guys. I talked to my dad's friend, and he disclosed a lot of information for me. First, I asked if the police had any information on the man who ran Caledon Local 21. He replied that they have only had the same leads for years, never found a suspect. However, the Peel Regional Police do have some of the tapes found in the house Caledon Local 21 was broadcasted from. He took me over so I could watch a few. I guess I haven't said much about him yet. My dad's friend's name is Mitchell Wilson, a pretty nice guy. He seems to understand my thirst for knowledge on what happened during the late 90s in that house. He feels it was wrong that my dad went so long without telling me much. He took me to the Davis Road Police Station. If you don't know, it's the largest station in Caledon, and one of the largest within the Peel region itself. One of the main stations around Peel have some of the tapes. I was able to watch all of the footage that the Davis Road Station has. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to take any tapes home for obvious reasons.
I just want to say, one thing I really like with a lot of these stories, and that this is setting up really well too, is I like the amount of times that adults withhold things from their children.
Yeah.
Or almost like no kid could ever handle hearing these things or being left in the dark. And it always proves to be the wrong thing. Instead of just being completely transparent and having it be an open discussion in due time. I don't think you have to traumatize somebody, but I do think I think that like this deception that it starts off with is like also what like lends so many people to be digging so much more. And now my gut reaction too is that Elliot is going to dig too far and something like I don't know. Like I would hate for him to be like, man, no one is giving me answers. I need to keep digging. Yeah. And then it ends up like really backfiring on him.
You know what I mean? Versus like finding Mr. Bear on his own or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think I think it's a good trickle of information, whereas like you're not going to tell a 6-year-old what happened, but you tell a 16-year-old what happened, right?
I think you could. I think that even like a 13-year-old or something where it's like you're obviously not mature yet, but I think that you have enough cognitive functioning to where you could be like, hey, this is what happened, and it's like a really pretty horrifying thing. I think that as you're growing, you need to know like the dangers of what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially, I would feel so guilty if I took someone there and it ended up being something horrible, right?
Yeah.
Where you'd almost want to be like, let's not have that happen again, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's also a good trickle because like now Mitchell's like you can see the tapes. You know, I understand. I'll let you see them. And it also is good for the reader because we have a good balance between hearing new tapes and then talking about what they might mean, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think it's a good balance.
As with a lot of these stories, the deception with the parents is always weird. I'm like still kind of skeptical with the dad because I do like the line where he says, Mitchell says he feels it was wrong, or this is in reference to Elliot saying what Mitchell said. He feels it was wrong that my dad went so long without telling me much.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just one little line where I'm like, I don't know. I'm watching that dad. I'm watching that dad now. I don't know.
So the episodes that he was shown. Paint with the Soul, episode 10. Garbage Thrown Away. Paint with the Soul was one of the shows that I Am Real Life and Siggy92 discussed on Neoseeker. I told the police about this, and they informed me that 12 episodes of the show were made and broadcasted between December 5th, 1997 and January the 8th, 1998. This also further backs up my theory that this and The Satan Show would have come first because he ended early 1998 to do more Mr. Bear stuff. So it seems like Paint with the Soul came first. Exactly as I Am Real Life and Siggy92 described, the episode opened with the cameraman wandering around in a forest. It appeared to be during this evening as it seemed the sun was setting. The cameraman walked along a path until he got to an area where there was a lot of garbage lying in the leaves. The camera looked around at the various wrappers, bottles, bags, and boxes, making sure each item got a few seconds of screen time. The camera then focused on a single area before the man spoke. I recall he spoke in a very timid, quiet voice, and I swear I've heard it somewhere else before. Like on another Caledon Local 21 show. I could barely hear what he was saying, but he mainly talked about how humans are garbage, or something that had to do with saving ourselves by cleaning up the garbage, or us. It actually sounded really stupid, but still a feeling of dread came over me. I mean, that forest was possibly where those bodies were found, right? Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 25. When the police administrator brought in this tape, I actually said,
"Oh, shit," and
chuckled a bit out loud. Of course, I got stares from the staff, but Wilson explained to them about my little experience with Mr. Bear and how I still kept the letter he sent me. Like the previous episodes, this one included a guy wearing a bear mascot costume. The episode began with Mr. Bear waddling over to his cellar door with a bottle of orange juice in his paws. On the ground were 16 shot glasses, as well as a small bottle that contained an unknown liquid. Mr. Bear poured an equal amount of orange juice into each glass before opening the smaller bottle and depositing one drop into the glasses. Mr. Bear then went off camera. There were some minor sounds such as shuffling, and then Mr. Bear emerged from behind the camera's location. Following him were 16 children. Some looked as young as 4, while others looked like they were practically teenagers. As the children entered, the administrator commented that this is the only episode that showed all 16 victims. The kids all looked rather content, except for this one who had visible bruises on his face. And unlike the other kids, he had a more fearful expression. He also looked about 11 or 12, which caused me to recognize him. He was the kid who asked about his sister and subsequently met an unknown fate at the end of episode 23, that one episode I watched during July of 99. When I told the administrator this, he confirmed it was the same kid. He was also featured in 24, an episode that only aired once at 3 p.m. in July of 99. The police have still not found the tape. Mr. Bear then broke into song, singing about citrus fruits and how good vitamin C was for you. I could barely hear the lyrics as they were muffled by the bear mask. The kids all drink their juice, the one from episode 23 doing it rather reluctantly, and the episode ended. After viewing the tapes in possession of the David Road police station, I'm satisfied, but only temporarily. I still want to know the full story. The police just keep giving me the same crap about the creator of Caledon Local 21 being a fetishist pedophile as well as an apparent cultist. I'll sign off for now, get into university first, and get information later. Hopefully, I'll get back to this blog as soon as possible.
I mean, we're getting to a spot here where the thing about him, I don't know how you read this, but when he put the drop of stuff in the orange juice, it almost makes you think it's like a sedative or something that, in a way, makes me think maybe would help them not feel pain, whatever. Like, is Mr. Bear, is he feeling sympathetic towards these kids? He's obviously some kind of mentally unwell man, but is it going to be one of those things where it's like the voices are telling me to do this, but I don't want to, or something? Like the information we're being given, I'm wondering what kind of drug he's giving them. It seems like sedating them somehow, but I'm not entirely sure.
I think it'd be a kind of drug that just kind of made the kids more passive. They'll go along with whatever he says, kind of dull their senses, so to speak. We can also see that after that kid tried to get away, he was physically beat, and now he's drinking it because he's in fear of that happening again.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to have that happen to him again. I'm wondering if Elliot is going to try to reach out and meet up with I Am Real Life and Siggy 92.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to have any kind of like meet up to be able to meet them in person or something. I'm curious. I'd like to see if he meets them in person and to see like what kind of conversation that would be.
Yeah. Okay, continuing on. Next update, May 8th, 2010. Last month, I finally got my G2 license. In Ontario, Canada, this allows you to drive in a car by yourself as well as with some passengers after 6 months. I, of course, took advantage of this and drove into Caledon for a little Sunday drive. Since I haven't updated this blog in a while, I figured I might as well visit the house where the infamous channel of my childhood was located. The house looked different than when I saw it last in October. The place was no longer used as a daycare and just sat there abandoned. However, it did have a for sale sign showing that someone still owned it, wanting to get rid of it though. So I want to ask you, what do you think of going back? You know he's not there logically, right? But what do you think about driving to the house?
I think if you're in search of answers, I think that you'd want to think that, or I believe the desperation of your mind would think that there is something there that someone has not picked up on, right? I think that also being in this thing and feeling this connection to something that's like mentally overtakes you, seeing it, feeling it in person is probably so much different. But I would say that it's you being like, them being obsessed on the aspect of like, him being a pedophile and stuff. I think that even Elliot's just like, I think that there's something more at play here than that. And I think that he is wanting that kind of closure, especially because in a sense, he came so close to death himself. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it was me in this situation, I would be reading it like there is something that someone has not uncovered yet. And the fascination too. I mean, in a way, it's like, it's almost like an obelisk or an old temple to this like guy. You know what I mean? It's still standing. It's there. It represents all of these evils in a way.
Yeah. I think I would want to go too. I don't know if it'd be a good idea, but I'd probably want to at least.
Yeah. I mean, at this point too, from what we've read, there's nothing to say that it's still harmful now. So I think that like I don't think it's like a negative to go back. I think it's just a matter of I'm wondering if his intentions are to just find something that has not been uncovered.
Yeah. It might be. There might be something there. The abandoned house drew fuzzy memories from my mind, mainly of that day my dad took me to visit Mr. Bear. A feeling of dread came upon me. What happened to the children while they were living in that house? I walked up the steps to the front door and peered through the window. Inside, I could see a nearly empty hallway with a few boxes at the end. At the end of the hallway, to the right, was an open doorway, presumably leading to the kitchen. To the left were two doors. both apparently leading to the rooms visible through the windows outside. I wondered where the cellar entrance was located and whether it had been sealed up. I walked around to the back of the house and found my answer. 2 wooden doors lying at an almost flat angle were padlocked shut. This had to lead to the cellar. Not wanting to hang around, you cannot imagine what was going through my mind at that time, I departed. Behind the house, the empty field continued on until it reached a dense forest that lined the horizon. I wondered if that was the forest where the bodies of the children were found. I thought to myself, screw it. And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just say fuck it, but yeah, screw it, it's fine. Sorry.
And proceeded to walk across the field behind the house into the forest. The forest was oddly quiet, save for the few periodic sounds of a woodpecker drilling into a distant tree. I cautiously made my way deeper into the woods, not really caring about the fact that I had no idea where I was going. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like there was something I had to find. I came to a thinner part of the woods and a few small houses in the distance. Polo's house crossed my mind, and I wondered if one of those homes had belonged to him. I neared a small clearing in which I could see 3 adequately sized logs gathered around a black, charred area, showing a small fire had been lit there recently.
Hey! Get the fuck out of our fort!
Those words nearly gave me a heart attack. I turned to my left and saw 2 dark-clothed people running towards me. My initial thought was to run. However, as they came closer, I saw that they were just kids in their early teens, possibly 13 or 14, maybe even 12. As they approached me, they realized my size as well. I'm 6'1", while they could be no bigger than 5'8". One might have been 5'7".
Damn.
Did you
Big
say
fucking
damn?
16-year-old. God damn, dude.
He
Good
is
lord.
tall. He's a big boy.
Old boy's eating his green beans and stuff. My word.
He's going pro immediately.
Yeah. We said, get the fuck out.
The larger one, who was wearing a Slipknot shirt. Hey, there's your reference. You said you wanted,
Hey!
it's not Limp Bizkit, but it's a reference to something.
There it is. I like that.
The larger one who was wearing a Slipknot shirt said half-heartedly. I stood my ground and shrugged. The shorter one was wearing a Metallica shirt. There you go, another one.
I like that.
Swung out a butterfly knife and held it in my direction.
This is literally Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, you know what it is? You know what it is? The one reference we forgot to make earlier. The boys from Jeff the Killer. The 2 boys.
Oh, shit. That's exactly right.
That's them, yeah. Looks like we've got some fresh meat. That's it.
Looks like we've got some fresh meat. Oh, I like this. I like this coming up. No, you wouldn't want to.
I said in a deep, serious tone, trying to sound as badass as possible. I pulled out my cell phone. The 2 kids withdrew, the one in the Metallica shirt putting away the knife.
Look, dude, we don't like people in our fort, so can you just go?
The one in the Slipknot shirt said, obviously intimidated. I had no business in the forest anyway, so I uttered out a simple
Fine.
and turned before I realized I had a great opportunity.
Did either of you hear a guy who murdered a bunch of kids in these woods about 13 years ago?
I asked the kids. The 2 looked at each other in confusion before the one wearing the Metallica shirt answered.
Yeah, everyone knows about that guy.
He said to me as if I were stupid. The kid in the Slipknot shirt continued.
He still lives around here, in the storm drain. My big brother's friend said he saw him in a bear costume once, wandering around the forest at night.
Whoa!
Okay, that's the
Holy
most
shit.
menacing part of the entire story.
He still lives right here in
Oh
the
my.
storm drain. Is crazy. Is crazy.
Oh, that gave me chills. Gosh, the idea of being in the woods at night and he's still wandering out there, like maybe looking for the kids he lost or looking for more, and he lives in a storm drain. Could you imagine just peeking into a storm drain and seeing a bear costume? Huh.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I would assume too that he's still wearing it as like some kind of weird identity kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
he is Mr.
guy's
Bear
obviously
now.
mentally unwell,
Yeah.
anyways. Like, yeah.
Oh man, that's awful. See, what's wild is when I heard this story for the first time, stuff like that didn't stick out to me because I was like, I think I was 12 when I read this the first time. So to me, I'm just like, oh, that's a creepy monster thing to have, right? It didn't hit as hard as it did just now. Huh, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what's kind of interesting about you saying that too? At 12, these guys are 13, and they're saying it as casually as you probably read it.
Yeah. Like,
which is pretty sick.
Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. My instincts told me this was probably a lie, and the owner of Caledon Local 21 is probably long gone, only existing as a folklore in this smaller, isolated community. However, as a human, the thought of the mysterious unknown sparked interest within.
And where is the storm drain?
I asked, just out of curiosity. I don't actually believe the kid's story. The kid in the Metallica shirt stared at me for a few moments, his eyes seemingly full of annoyance, yet curiosity for me.
You're not from around here, are you? Why did you even come here?
Now, I do admit I was slightly startled by the nature of his question. However, I figured I might as well explain why I was there, just in case people mistook my intentions. I told the two kids about my experience with the man and Caledon Local 21, that I had come to maybe seek out some sort of closure, although even I wasn't exactly sure. The kids seemed familiar with the channel as they smiled and looked at each other when I mentioned it. They also became more understanding and gave me a detailed description on how to get to the storm drain. Shortly after, I decided to just turn around the way I came and head back to the house, leaving the kids at their fort. But now you're probably wondering why I left out such a detail about the kids. But now you're probably wondering why I left out such detail about what the kids told me just now. It is because I'm choosing to conclude what I have gathered now. Here's what the kids told me in detail. The storm drain lies ahead of the kids' fort, same direction I was heading. The drain ends at a small river where excess water is drained out. Near here is a small playground. The kids told me people rarely use it. The man supposedly lives in the large pipe the rainwater drains out of. People have seen him, although always either wearing a bear mask or the mask and a full-body bear costume. No, I do not believe this is true, and in fact simply a myth made by the residents of Caledon. The story does not seem plausible in any way. Why did no one call the police? Didn't this guy look suspicious? And other questions like this leave the story invalid. I may visit the storm drain. Not because I believe the story, but because I want an excuse to visit Caledon again. So this blog doesn't die. With no more tapes to watch, I don't know what to talk about anymore. Thanks for continuing to support me in my blog. I know many are looking forward to more information about what happened in Caledon during the year 1999, and I'll do my best to continue my research into the topic. Elliot out.
Okay, and that was in May of 2010. Well, let me ask you, what do you think? Do you just out of your gut reaction? Are you thinking it's a myth?
I do want to say immediately, if we remove the polo part, because I feel like that kind of killed the pacing a bit. I feel like it was too much revealed at once, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, they're fine and there's a fire. If we remove that part, this entire thing is so expertly dripped to the reader. Like, from like, oh, there's this creepy guy back in 99, and then a bunch of kids died, so that's why the police are interested. And then we hear more tapes, we start to put together psychology, we start to put together purposes, and now we get the detail that he's living in a storm drain nearby, although in the real world, I would say this is definitely an urban legend, right? Because how does a guy live in the woods for 10 years, right? No one called the police, no one spots him, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the story has given us just enough room for error with the supernatural that it could be possible. Maybe he's some spirit, maybe he's some ghost, something like that, right? And it puts you in this perfect gray area where you don't know what to believe. And it creates dread, it creates tension. It's so well done so far. This is a lot better than I thought it would be looking back on it now. And it's cool for that. I'm happy to see that.
The thing that is piquing my curiosity at the moment is that it ended with even Elliot, our narrator, our protagonist, even questioning the validity of, like, this is probably fake. I mean, this doesn't make sense, to where the author knows that these questions are arising. And I'm wondering, even though that this was like kind of continued on, if the charred bodies is breadcrumbs that is trying to, it's setting up some kind of subversion of expectation. I'm very curious to see. I don't think that we've fully gotten a whole grasp of what's going on, and I don't think it's as simple as the guy being in a pipe. Like, I think that I'm curious. I feel like we're heading down a very interesting road
even
right
if
now.
Nothing more comes out of the guy in the pipe thing, I think it does serve to like the impact this event has had on the local community, right?
Oh, sure.
Like the legend is he's still out there. He's still in the woods. Right?
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah. He himself has become an urban legend.
Yeah.
I mean, like that
Absolutely.
makes sense. Totally.
I'm loving this story so far. I'm thrilled with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm locked in right now.
All right. Next update, October 7th, 2010. Wow. Nearly 5 months since I last updated. I'm guessing everyone pretty much thinks I was dead, right? Thankfully, I'm not. But in all my seriousness, I really have been busy these past few months, and a blog about something that could have killed me as a kid is a little low on my current priorities list. As of now, I'm living in Waterloo, Ontario, attending the University of Waterloo for computer engineering. Yeah, I'm a keener. As you can imagine, engineering is no walk in the park, so obviously I nearly forgot about this blog. But as you can see now, I'm back. I remembered to visit the storm drain the kids from the Caledon Forest told me about. I was out in a clearing between the wooded areas, nearby a marsh. Unfortunately, I found absolutely nothing, save for a turtle that retreated into its built-in home when it saw me. I snapped some pics of the pipe, which I have posted as well. Also, let me tell you, it was not a storm drain like they said it was. What I saw was a simple pipe, possibly to channel the excess water from the marsh. When I returned from Caledon, however, I simply kept putting off uploading everything until I forgot all about my blog. It just didn't seem important anymore. Please forgive me. It wasn't until only recently that I am now interested in my case again. On September 10th, I received an email from this email address, returnthebee@hotmail.com. Funny, am I right? Well, it gets better. I'm going to copy and paste the exact email this guy sent me.
Dear Elliot, my dear, dear boy. You see, this story may or may not be true, but it could happen. There are many slots for airtime. If you have money, you can have a public access TV channel. Some public access channels share airtime, like EWTN, which is a religious channel based out of Michigan that shows Catholic-based programming, but during off-air hours have independent shows or just blue screen. Cable networks have empty channels available for rent space. So the scenario of a pedo renting a channel on basic TV is not far-fetched at all. However, public access TV is widely reviewed and can be terminated at any time. These are the rules of the United States, not for Canada, where the story took place. So if this happened in the U.S., the pedo would be tracked and arrested immediately. Yes, this story could happen, but it is unlikely. 100 fuzzy hugs, Mr. Bear.
Now, obviously, this letter is fake and sounds almost corrupted, but still, I would like to thank whoever sent it, though they could use some English lessons. Just reading the letter creeped me out, but because of it, I am now full of this new interest to continue my blog. I guess it's just funny trying to pursue the mysteries I've always questioned. Now my roommate knows about all this. He thought the letter was real and actually seemed more scared than I was for a second, but then I shrugged it off. So he did too. I mean, what are the chances of this being real? How could Mr. Bear know all this about public access TV and about when I went to Caledon on those occasions? More or less know my email or me still be interested in this in his cellar. Ha. I'm going to send a reply to return the bee. Wow, just looking at that email address, you can tell someone wanted to freak me out. It didn't really work though. Yeah, we can definitely tell. That's why you're still talking about it. Although, to whomever you are, thank you for sparking my interest back into the full matter. Maybe I can find out more about what happened to Mr. Bear. Hopefully, because although I don't buy that email, a part of me still feels anxious. Thank you to all those who are still following me and become avid fans. You are also why I'm choosing to continue with this. Thanks, guys. He sounds freaked out.
He's definitely freaked out. The thing too, well, I guess just out of curiosity, do you think that email is real, or do you think it's like somebody who was following the story and then they are trying to prank him?
I don't know. I kind of feel the same way I do about the storm drain thing. You know, it could just be set dressing to show how this has affected it, but it could also potentially be real, because we don't know. If Mr. Bear's just a normal person, I don't think it's real. But if there's some supernatural element, then I think it definitely could be.
Okay.
I can tell he's getting freaked out by it, though. So,
Yeah, I mean, even the way he talked about the kids and stuff too, and how much he reiterated that he didn't believe what they were saying. I think that you could tell that. I think that he was trying to almost willfully think that he's like trying to convince himself it wasn't real. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Also, I will add, originally, to my understanding, before this was all posted to creepypasta.com, it was on Camden's actual blog he had, like his personal blog.
Okay.
So I think those original pictures of what the storm drain looked like are now lost. Because I haven't seen them, and I don't think I've seen anyone reshare them. But if anyone knows if those pictures can't be found, that would be cool, just for set dressing for the video. But yeah, I think those pictures are lost because the original blog's no longer up.
It's just gone.
Yeah, I think so at least.
Okay.
All right, now it's not like super indicative to the story. It was pictures of a storm drain.
No,
right?
it'd be nice.
It'd be
have,
nice.
though,
It's nice to have, just to see where he might be. Next update, November 7th, 2010. Wow, I can't believe this blog hasn't been deleted yet. I haven't checked it for so long. I have my reasons, and I'd rather not discuss them just yet. It has been a rather traumatic month for me. Some of you are right. I shouldn't have gone back trying to relive the mysteries of my childhood, but I couldn't resist. It's been a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. Let's recap where I'm at right now with regards to the whole Mr. Bear incident. returnthebee@hotmail.com is no longer in use. I tried replying to the email, but I got no reply. I tried again a while back. Still no response. I've actually moved up to Ottawa, capital of Canada, for those who don't know, for university, so I haven't been back to Caledon or back home in the Peel region for a while. I had my reasons for leaving, as you could guess why. I've had to make a new email account because people keep prank emailing me, pretending to be Mr. Bear. Thanks a lot, guys. Not. That's the most 2009.
Yeah, very.
Like, not.
Late epic.
Troll face. Yeah, I just did that. Why have I ventured back to this blog? Mitchell Wilson, remember my dad's ex-cop friend, gave me a phone call on October 23rd about a tape that was found in a branch of the Brampton Public Library. Brampton is my hometown, in case you haven't picked up on that. He claims he isn't allowed to discuss the contents of the tape with me, as it's still in evidence, but he asked me to come check it out when I return home. That tape got the gears grinding again because we all know what was on the last tapes I saw. I can only imagine what can be on it. I'm guessing it must have something to do with Caledon Local 21. I guess I just wanted to say I am continuing this blog, and thank you for everyone who still follows it. I don't know when my next entry will be, but when I see that tape, I'll write what I find. I don't know what to expect, but the idea of seeing another tape has got me interested in this whole mystery all over again. Elliot. So we now move on to the last tape. I will mention something that was really good that I didn't call out when it happened is that part where he's at the Mr. Bear house and the cellar's right there and he feels like really weird all of a sudden and walks away from it. Like the logical part of his brain knows that Mr. Bear's not there anymore, right? That it's not going to hurt him. But it makes so much sense to get out of there immediately, right? Like, there's the cellar door. You know horrible things happen there, and you saw what was on the other side of that door from that camera, and it's haunted you all these years. And the padlock's the only thing between you and it. The human inclination would be to run, right? To get out of there. Like I said, it's not logical, but it makes sense that he would leave rather than investigating. I really like that detail.
I mean, you're right. You're definitely right. You know what's crazy is that whenever I read that, I thought that he left because the inclination was he was like, I want to break in. I don't know why I thought that until now, but I think that hearing you say that, I think you might be. I think that makes way more sense of just that dreadful little feeling, like almost like that pit in your gut.
Yeah, like his body's just like get out, get out, get out. You know, like
definitely. Yeah.
I think a lot of the terror works well, and I feel like Elliot is being realistically portrayed as someone who had that kind of trauma, and he's now trying to process it, and now he's like having to interact with it, and like the way that he interacts with it. I think it makes a lot of sense as a character.
Yeah, I agree.
So, big update here. Update January 21st, 2011. So, 2 months after the last one. The end of 2010 into the new year was dreadfully long for me. University has been giving me the usual sleepless nights, especially since I transferred to Ottawa, which is the place to party. Sarcasm. But now I am back home with my dad in Brampton, the town I grew up in. I got home on the 18th of December and have been visiting with friends and family, or at least that's what I would rather have done. Now the festive holiday cheer that I usually have at this time of the month is absent.
And I just want to say, too, really quick, one thing that I liked from that last post, sorry about the late thought here, but
No, you're good.
one thing I liked about it was he's like, oh, people keep making these emails and trying to scare me. Haha. I like that because to me, like looking back at it, I'm like, what if it's just a guy making different emails and messaging you? So creepy.
It fits because it's realistic that people would be making other emails and messaging him after he gave the idea. But it's also, like you said, a chance that it's him just making burner emails. So again, it fits that great area of like, is this just like people's response to it, or is this another Mr. Bear thing? Is there really a difference if it leads to the same dread in people who live with it, like the thing in the storm drain? Does it make a difference if kids won't go play on the playground either way, you know?
And also the idea, too, that the story has picked up. By this time, I'm assuming that the story online is doing very well and is probably well known within the circles of the horror stories, right? But it could be the idea, too, that like it's gotten enough traction to where it's like made its way back to the guy, and he's able to like know that the guy's talking, knowing that this kid is talking about this again, and wants to contact him. Just like that idea is just kind of creepy and fun.
Yeah. This is, again, very well done. To answer the hundreds of emails and comments I got, yes, I did see the tapes that my dad's friend, Mitchell Wilson, promised to show me. These tapes, however, act as a curse. I want to know more, yet I want to forget everything. I couldn't help it. I needed to see those tapes. Not only for myself, but for all of you guys who are just as intrigued as I am by that ominous man in a bear suit from my past. However, after viewing those tapes, I feel that pit of dread deep inside me once again. That feeling where I know that all those kids in those videos are dead. That I could have been one of those kids. And that humanity's a dark, dark place. If you haven't skipped this paragraph for the juicier details below, thank you for listening to my ramblings. On January the 1st, I called Mitchell Wilson and asked if there was a time where I could come by and view the tapes. Things were pretty slow at the station because of a snowstorm, so he said I could come down any time that day. The tapes were located at a branch not too far from me. So I braved the slushy roads and terrible Brampton drivers and made my way to the Peel Regional Police Station located at the Bramley City Center. I met Wilson at the front desk, where he then led me up to the second floor into a small office. He instructed me to have a seat and wait while he went and got the tapes. Before leaving the office, he turned to me and said,
I know you're curious, but are you sure you want to do this?
Of course I did. Or at least thought so. Besides, Wilson's friend had pulled a lot of strings to get me in there, and I didn't want to waste the opportunity. This particular station had 2 tapes on hand. I was only able to watch a few minutes of footage, however, because the second tape was apparently too damaged to be played on a VCR. Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 30. Mr. Bear never ceases to disturb me, especially after what almost happened when I was younger. This episode took place outside in a forest at dusk, making it slightly hard to see, especially considering the quality of the film, trademark of anything from Culloden Local 21. The episode started with the camera being held in the paws of Mr. Bear, aiming it at himself. That bear mask. It looked more sinister in the shadows of the trees. The unmistakable muffled voice spoke up.
Hello, children. Today, I will be doing a wonderful thing for my friends. I will be delivering them to a faraway land where they will surely be happy.
Mr. Bear returned the camera around to show an ATV with an attached trailer. But what stood out the most was that the trailer contained 7 motionless children lying side by side.
This here is the first load, but more will be there on their way soon.
Mr. Bear turned around and pointed the camera at a large burlap tarp spread on the ground. He picked the tarp up, revealing a large hole that must have been at least 12 feet deep and maybe about 15 feet wide. The rest of the episode consisted of Mr. Bear taking each kid and dropping them into the hole. I asked Wilson if they were dead, to which he shook his head and replied,
Not yet.
Soon all the kids were in the pit. Some were in awkward positions due to being tossed in, but they remained unconscious.
The vitamin C will surely help these children on the great journey that awaits them,
Mr. Bear mentioned as he panned the camera towards multiple bottles of gasoline beside a bush. The camera zoomed into the bottles as Mr. Bear hummed before the episode ended. Wilson revealed to me that these were 7 of the 16 victims found burnt to a crisp. The gasoline is what the man playing Mr. Bear used to light them on fire. A pit full of burning children. Who the hell would do that? The feeling of dread found me once again when I realized that I could have been one of those kids. Wilson then explained to me that he had previously lied. The other tape, confiscated by the Bramley Police Branch, did indeed work and contained the filming of the actual burning. However, he felt that I wouldn't be able to handle the disturbing and graphic nature of the episode. And you know what? Maybe I can't. I don't even want to see it. I'm satisfied for now, but I just need some time to get myself together. The thing is, the man who ran Caledon Local 21 is still out there. More to come soon. Elliot. So how are you feeling right now?
Very very disturbing. You know what my mind immediately went to, which is interesting. This concluded in 2011. It started in 2009 with some of the footage and stuff. The last part there feels so eerily similar to the movie Sinister, and how all of those little recorded vignettes, it almost feels like a little too similar for them not to have been inspired by this in a way, right?
When did Sinister come out?
Sinister came out in 2012, dude.
Okay, so... Oh, are you saying Sinister took from this story?
I'm not saying they stole anything. I'm just saying, like, it feels so odd that if this thing was exactly inspired in that way, but even just, like, the way of, like, the shitty camera, the people lined up, I mean, like, that movie is very infamous for those scenes. And this is, like, if at the time... Even now, it's disturbing and stuff. Granted, it's not as graphic as like probably a lot of the stories would be nowadays, but still, I mean, it feels like I'm like, that's what my mind went to immediately was that movie and those little vignettes.
Maybe there could have been some inspiration taken. Like I said, the story wasn't super popular till like 2014. Once like it started making rounds on YouTube. I mean, it still had a community, but it wasn't like as big as it became. Till later.
Also, the aspect too of like the Poughkeepsie tapes also being something of an inspiration to this as well is like finding tapes of a serial killer and like it's just the raw footage from a serial killer's catalog of stuff. Yeah. It's just the way that the stuff is presented, even like the monster himself, the bear kind of thing, and wearing this mask, and my mind is just heading toward a sinister place. But it's very revealing. It's very revealing. I like that we're getting more dialogue from Mr. Bear as well. Definitely still on a manic kind of episode and stuff. Mm-hmm. Still wondering what the vitamin C, wondering what like the importance of vitamin C, if it's just him being fucking insane or if there's some kind of going to be some kind of reveal there.
I think he's talking about just like, oh, the vitamin C will help them. It's because he knocked them out with it. I think that's what he means by that. Because all the kids were unconscious on the trailer, right?
Right. Do you think the tone in which I was reading it, or do you think that like the way that he was saying like the quotes of Mr. Bear, do you think he was cheerful, or do you think, because even him saying like the vitamin C will help them, is he like slightly disturbed by what he's doing? Like, what do you think? Because he's kind of catching himself on some of his words too.
I don't know. I think maybe he's just so far gone. I don't even know if he could be disturbed at this point with what he's doing. I think it's more so just it's like he's describing it to kids. He's trying to keep it whimsical, right? That's where I think he's at.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a deranged man, and I imagine that he's still keeping this kind of childish, like positive voice kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like just totally delusional.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't know if he is disturbed by what he's doing.
The thing here that's next that says INRI, what does that mean? INRI.
Well, the update doesn't have a date. I don't think so. INRI was is what was written on Jesus' cross when he was crucified. So maybe that's what it. Maybe that's what it's referencing. I don't know. Is there another name for it that means like no date given? Like, kind of like saying NA.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, just Googling it, it just says, translates to Jesus Nazarene, King of the Jews.
Yeah.
It's just what I see.
Yeah, that's what's put on Christ's cross.
Which also, if he's...
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, if this is just giving more validity to like this quote here, which it just says INRI. There's no date or time on this, by the way, guys. This is what the entry says. Once upon a time, there lived a boy named Elliot. Elliot was a clever boy who loved playing with his friends. One day, he watched a lovely television show about a bear and his children friends. The children loved helping each other as good children should. But they also loved the bear. The bear loved the children since the children were so good at helping him and the fallen angel. The children and the bear wanted to play together forever with the help of their angel friend. But the fallen angel needed even more help, so the children had to give up the ultimate sacrifice. Because that's what friends do, Elliot. They help each other. Help us, Elliot. Burn with us, Elliot. I want you, Elliot. He wants you, Elliot. Come back to my cellar. Pretty pleased with sugar and icing on top. Mr. B. And it ends with INRI again. Which I'm wondering if the religious undertone there, since he's a Satanist and the fallen angels, obviously Lucifer and stuff like that, but I'm wondering if INRI is just kind of a representation of the crucifixion or like the sacrifice.
Now that you just said that, that's probably what it is, because Christ's death on the cross is like the ultimate sacrifice for people, so maybe the Satanists using it here is implying that the death of the children is the ultimate sacrifice for Satan, for the fallen angel. That probably is what it means.
Something just dropped in my room. Holy shit.
What'd you say? Oh, God. Did you say something dropped in the room?
Dude, a box dropped off my shelf randomly in my room. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes, finally.
A fucking Elgato Streambox box dropped from the I don't know how. This is honestly, that's fucking me up. I don't know how it fell off. That scared the fuck out of me.
I will say, you saying INRI is the one explicitly like religious symbol that we've mentioned so far, and when we mention it, the box falls off your shelf. So I want you to keep that in mind, Hunter.
That actually, I'm not even joking. I'm like, that scared the shit out of me. Okay. Holy shit.
Good. I'm glad.
And my door is closed. My door is closed. There's no way.
Make fun of my wife opening.
Yeah, but at least she's just your wife, dude. Do I have a goddamn demon in my room right now? I'm freaking out.
Well, I know. I got this. And I got this. So I'm gonna be all right, regardless of.
Dude, you saying this and this, and I have no idea what you're referring to, is making it even worse, dude. Because you're not sharing what I could be using to help myself.
I got this,
dude. Now I'm at that feeling where it's like I'm really creeped out. And I'm like hearing like little things. I don't like this. I wonder if you could. That was a pretty loud drop. I'm wondering in my recording if you could hear that. That was fucked up. Shut up, man. Shut up, man. That's my nightmare sound. All right, it goes into the next entry here, which is actually kind of crazy because the last entry that actually had a date was January of 2011, and now it says update April 5th, 2011. So it's been some time.
A few months, yeah. I will say if that is what the INRI means, that's pretty sick that Mr. Bear is like fully committed to the symbols of the religiousness. Because even if the story's not supernatural, which I don't think it is at this point, even if it's not supernatural, it's this guy, whatever monster Mr. Bear is, so convinced that it's real that he's willing to kill over it. That's terrifying.
I just hate that I said INRI and the thing had to drop right when I said that.
It's funny that you keep saying it too. You keep provoking it.
Because I'm pretty sure, I think everybody who's working the studio today has left too. I am very upset. I'm very upset. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually very skittish right now. I'm very fucking skittish, and I don't like that.
I'm gonna send you a list of like phrases from the Bible you're definitely not supposed to say and I'm just gonna have
Dude, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't even send that to me. Send me good things to say. I want some good. I need some good omens.
We
dude.
just hear Hunter scream, and like that's the last Creepcast episode. Oops.
Yeah.
All right.
God. All right. Here we go.
Update April 5th, 2011. I wanted to update more. I truly did. However, certain circumstances had turned me off to the whole Caledon Local 21 thing. I've since then had hundreds of emails about my blog and was even in contact with the magazine about my story. But now is the time to come clean to everyone. Where have I been for an entire year? The story of Pandora's Box is true, and I opened it. I opened it, and when I watched the second tape in the possession of the Bremella Police Branch, the other subject I'd like to address is the Wait, hold on. I watched it the second Hold up.
I
opened it when I watched the second tape in the possession of the Bramwell Police Branch. So he watched the one of the fire. Is that what he's saying?
I think he has not told us what the subject is. I think he said this is the second tape of. There's the first one of them going in the pit, and he said I don't need to watch the second one. I'm fine, but I think he ended up watching it anyways.
Yeah, I opened it when I watched the second tape. Yeah, okay, I think you're right there. The other subject I'd like to address is the number of joke/fake emails I've been getting from people claiming to be Mr. Bear. Let's start with the second tape, as that is what traumatized me into stopping my search temporarily. Also, I'm doubling down on the critique I had earlier. If you cut out Polo's part, I think the story's perfectly paced because we're coming up on the ending, and now to tell us about that stuff, like what was exactly happening in the woods, works better. Whereas Polo kind of like gave a lackadaisical thing to kids being out in the woods. I know they were just around a campfire then. It wasn't the kids being burnt, I don't think. But I still feel
but
like,
still, a crack addict looking guy.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. It's too many people.
But in my brain, I'm taking that out, and this is excellent, right?
Yeah.
After a few weeks of playing silent, I decided to ask Mitchell Wilson if I could view that infamous second tape we had talked about. I don't know why. I just felt that viewing the tape would give me some closure. Wilson was obviously reluctant to show me, but I was persistent. He gave me an offer. If I was still interested by the time I turned 20, he would show me the tape. Not being able to do much else, I just played the waiting game. By the time my 20th birthday rolled around, I was definitely still interested in viewing the tape. I gave Wilson a call, during which he admitted that he had hoped that I would forget about asking him again, but I was not taking no for an answer.
You really don't need to see it,
he kept telling me. But I did need to see it. I had to at this point. Sure enough, he invited me to the Bramwell Branch one Monday afternoon. Having watched every Saw film and a video of animal slaughterhouses in my ethics class, I was sure I would be able to handle whatever the tape could throw at me. How naive I was. I will say, like, I know that I am one to talk. Like, if I hear there's a graphic video going around online, I want to see it, right? Just that, you know, the human part of me, I guess. I don't know. I don't think there's ever a scenario I would want to see videos of children being burned, I would hope. But I do understand that he has a personal connection to this and almost has a survivor's guilt about the people who were killed, right? So
I mean, yeah, man. If this is the last known tape of it, it would haunt you forever if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it would.
I think so. So it makes sense, I guess, you know. Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 31. When Wilson went to collect the tape from evidence, the officer in charge at the evidence room shook his head at me, his face saying, "What are you doing?" Wilson explained that this tape includes the last known episode of Mr. Bear's Cellar. I rightfully assumed that I would be seeing the fate of the children and began to feel a sense of dread. The episode opened inside a forest, the usual one from the previous episodes. This fact took me a while to realize because it was night. The trees and leaves just looked like shapes dancing around in the darkness. A faint glow of light was present on the right side of the screen. There wasn't any apparent audio. It appeared to be a windy night, yet the trees weren't making any noise. Slowly, the camera began to pan towards the glow, revealing smoke rising from a hole with the tips of flames peeking over the top. Wilson paused at this point.
Are you sure you want to see this? Dude, Wilson, stop fucking asking that and just show it already. How many times has Wilson said, "Are you sure you want to see this?"
He's about
You know what
to
I mean?
show his friend's son a video of children burning. Like,
Yeah, dude, but it's like the only thing Wilson has literally said in quotations is, "Are you sure you want to see this?"
all right, that's fair. That's fair. At least change up the speech pattern. a
Yeah,
little
just
bit,
change it.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know. It's just comical. But anyways, go
I
ahead.
agree. I insisted on it, even though a voice in my head was telling me not to. The video continued. The cameraman moved towards the hole, showing a pit of fire. This was the hole that I had seen in the previous episode. Only this time, it was filled with shapes. I could see shapes moving around, fluttering, flailing, some motionless. I knew perfectly well what they were. The camera began to adjust to the light and burning flesh. Red, black, a blur of surreal movements and colors. I wish I could forget what I saw, but you can't forget a scene like this. This was not a horror movie. This was reality. Human beings were being killed in a horrifying way. A fate that I could have potentially met. The video suddenly cut to dawn. The camera now positioned farther away from the hole. The fire was out. However, there was still smoke rising up. A figure was up ahead. I recognized it right away. The Mr. Bear suit was laid out on the ground. Empty. It looked just as unnerving. The suit was laid out in the shape of a cross. The cameraman did a lap around the suit, treating it like a treasured artifact. Placed at the head of the suit was a sign in bold letters. INRI was printed. The cameraman moved back to the end of the suit, zooming into the bear's face. The episode finally ended. Oh, man. That
Creepy,
gives me
man.
that gives me the chills. Not only
Yeah,
killing the kids,
I feel like
but then making
it's that feeling.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's that feeling where it feels like there's like spiders crawling on you or something. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like. I feel like, ugh.
After killing those kids, he lays out the suit in a crucifix.
Also, it kind of feels like the death of that character.
Yeah. It's almost like with what he's done, he has now crossed over, right? He's fulfilled his purpose. He's now the savior of his story.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like this idea, like this kind of deity that he has is officially completed the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know.
Man. I was speechless. It was like a dream. You can find a lot of terrible things on the internet, but I had never seen anything like this. Wilson asked if I was okay, and I replied with a shaky
Yes.
I assured him as we left that I was fine and that the video gave me some closure over the whole incident. He didn't seem too confident in me, but he left it at that. He was right, though. I had nightmares for weeks. I gave up. I didn't care about the whole thing anymore. A sick man burned a bunch of kids alive, attracting them with a fake kids TV channel. I could have been one of his victims, yet I'm still here. I suppose I should be grateful, but I feel guilty. Am I still here only by pure luck? 10 months later, I'm back, but now I need to address something else. My email's been flooded with messages. Some people ask for more details. Some ask if I can upload the tapes, and some people email me claiming to be Mr. Bear. First, I cannot get the tapes uploaded as they're A, in police possession as evidence, and B, I have no idea how to transfer VHS onto a computer. As for people pretending to be Mr. Bear, you're not fooling me. When you have dozens of people pretending to be the same person, it doesn't work. I haven't seen a fake Caledon Local 21 YouTube channel, which is cute, but still not real. Even more annoying is the fact that someone hacked my account just to put up some demented poem about me on this blog. I'll leave it in the entry above this one, just to show you guys. I've contacted my webmaster about the entry and was told that it was posted on Halloween. Oh, spooky. Attached to the email, paintwithb@aol.com, which I assume is another joke email. I'm over episode 31 now. Images of what I saw will stick with me for a while, but I want to do one last hurrah. I will get into contact with Mitchell Wilson again and hopefully get set up with the tapes in the possession of the other Peel police branches. Try to update you guys as soon as I can. I'm sure this won't take so long again. Thank you to everyone who still reads this. Elliot.
Wow. I mean, you know, it's interesting because you can see so many influences in what other people have done here, especially even like my mind kind of goes like pen pal in a way of an obsessive person. You know, even like with the end of pen pal where it's the guy who was obsessed with this person so much that he dressed his friend up, you know? Mm-hmm. And I mean, like it's like this cult of obsession thing. The idea too of sacrificing and that kind of thing. I mean, reading this back in the day must have been extremely graphic. I mean, it was disturbing now, but I feel like now people have to push the stakes because of stories like this.
Yeah,
you know, like this. I wonder how crazy this must have felt reading it back in 2011.
The description of the bodies burning so intense, some still, some moving, some slowly, you know, like ah man, harrowing stuff. And then the following of the Mr. Bear costume in the shape of a crucifix, and then he's just supposedly, maybe he's out there, maybe not, maybe it is people hacking his email, maybe it is just legends of the thing that lives in the storm drain. Maybe it's still him. Maybe it's the ghost of him. Maybe it's it's such a perfect place of like legends you heard as a kid and you don't know if it's real or not. It's such a perfect adaptation of you still in the course of the story don't know what's real or not. You don't know what to believe. Yeah.
There's no finality to anything, which makes it so much creepier.
That's it. That's the perfect way of phrasing it. Yeah, there's no closure. No part of this feels like, and that's done. It's just like open doors, and none of them shutting.
The eerie nature of it being so open to is that, I think for me and probably viewers listening, is that the idea that any one of those joke emails are definitely probably joke emails, but it's just that all it takes is for one to be legitimate, to just completely unravel and make this thing even more fucking crazy, you know. And the idea too that like he does know the Mr. Bear does know Elliot. I mean, he received that letter. Who knows? I mean, like Mr. Bear, the person who is still not, you know, no one's contacted him or no one knows where he's at or who he is, could be obsessed. I mean, this is an extremely deranged man, you know.
Yeah. I will say, I think the hack, quote unquote, that happened that showed it was the poem about him that Mr. Bear supposedly wrote. I do think that's real because of the 4-letter edition, right? Because it contains.
How else would they know?
How else would they know exactly? How would they know what was about to show up in the next tape? So.
And I think that's what that letter was doing. I think that's what that submission was doing.
So that would mean that he probably is still out there online.
Yeah. Not only is he still out there, but he knows Elliot. Like he knows what's going on and stuff.
And he misses him. He wants him to join him, right? So maybe an update never happening after that implies that Mr. Bear got him.
Yeah.
Made him join the Angel. Huh.
You never know. I mean, ending it in this way is frustrating in the sense of like, I just want to know closure of some kind. Even if it's him saying like, I'm done with this, I'm putting this behind me, blah, blah, blah. But even this last episode, he's like, no, I'm going to go look for more and I'm going to see what happens. But we never get that kind of, it's like in a way, Ted the Caver kind of ends in a similar way, except Ted the Caver gives you that ultimatum of like, I'll update you when I'm back, but he never comes back. You know what I mean? It's that beautiful ending. This one is just, we don't even, who knows, I mean, as we all have known this entire time, Elliot has been not teasing us, but he's been basically filling us in on like, hey, sorry, I've lost interest. My life kind of took a crazy thing. I don't know if I'll have time. So he's done this. So who knows? I mean, he could have also just been like, I just don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to update it. I'm tired of all the emails. So there's so many things. There's no finality to any of it. And it makes it really, really entertaining. And I can see how much did Candle Cove come after this or before this?
Let me look real quick. So the story got, like I said, it started in 2009. Final update was 2011. It blew up. I was wrong in saying that it had its first wave in 2014 with YouTube channels. It actually got its first wave when someone posted it to 4chan's X board on September 9th of 2012. And when that happened, that's when people started to notice, started to go to the original blog site, whatever.
I see.
So 2012 was when it got popular. It was published in 2009 on his website, on Chris Straub's personal website.
Regardless if whichever one came first, I think that like either one could have been inspired by each other, but one thing I really appreciate about this is that it starts off and it kind of has some weird, creepy vignettes, but I'm glad that we do get to kind of go in more of a narrative device of stepping away from like each post just being new entries, which, you know, there are a lot of entries of the tapes and stuff like that, but we get so much more out of just being able to get the narrator's perspective on things and being able to really feel enticed with this world. Like, I mean, one thing that I really appreciate about like some of the stuff that came after these were like really early creepypastas is people really taking time and like really getting into like the characters, or especially our protagonists and stuff, not making it feel like it's just kind of a random blog post, but really like pushing the idea that like these blog posts can just, I mean, it can be a huge exposition dump for people. You know what I mean? Like, my favorite part of this whole thing was definitely running into the Beavis and Butthead looking kids and having that little urban legend kind of pop up. Like, I really enjoyed that, and I wish that there was just more to that. Which, granted, you know, this it flows so well. Like you're saying, if you didn't have the Polo part, I think that, or the Polo part, I think that this would be just such a well-paced story that just is just awesome. Just such a fun read, first off. So casual and fun, but part of me also, because I'm kind of invested into it, is just wishing that each one of these, like, we got to hear more, you know, even like some of these. One thing I think would be kind of interesting, I'm curious to hear what you think, is even getting to see more of these joke emails.
Yeah, seeing what more people are saying, even if it is just set dressing for the world.
Exactly. Even if it is just kind of, I want to get more and more into the psyche of having to read these as well, like that, like building sympathy for Elliot and feeling as confused as he is, like sharing more of them. You know, hey, here's a string of stuff, or even just being like, someone sent me this, it's getting really annoying or whatever. Like, I think that way, I feel like I would have been. It's just a giant teeter-totter. It's just kind of going back and forth, whatever. I think that that's really fun. Really, really fun. I'm glad we read this one, man. This was fun.
Yeah, it does go hard. There is one thing that's bothering me, though. I swear I remembered a different tape. There was an extra tape that I kept waiting for it to come up, and it's not. And it's honestly kind of freaking me out a little bit now. Because I remember,
you have your own personal thing going on.
Yeah, because that's the whole plot, right? Like, oh, I forgot that I saw this as a kid, but I swear there was a tape that the whole episode was just hands. It was like just hands on camera, like talking, like, oh, what do you want to do today? And then one of the hands cuts the other with scissors. And you could hear like a muffled scream when that happens, as if like it's Mr. Bear holding the kid's hand and making him cut himself.
Do you think that this could have been a tape, like maybe it's a tape that isn't
I feel
a
like
part
I'm
of this
going
series?
insane, right? Hold on, I'm gonna find this out, because when it didn't happen, I'm like, oh, it must be Candle Cove, but I look it up and that's not Candle Cove. Hold on, now I'm scared. Oh, I will mention while I'm looking, this actually got adapted in 2017 to an Amazon Prime series, a miniseries, or Amazon Video. But there were also there's a ton of like alternate 1999 stories out there where like people wrote, oh, well, this is a lost Mr. Bear episode, or this is another Booby episode, stuff like that.
So I'm curious. Like, is there anything that we can research that shows that possibly why these were removed?
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
curious.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Or maybe even somebody, if anybody in our comments knows as well, we'd love to pin or do anything too. I mean, like, just because that was the last Booby entry there, so I'm curious to see why.
I feel like there's some creepypasta community lore here that I'm not privy to, but I want to know. I remember when that happened, when people started discussing the hand thing, I remember people saying, oh, that's similar to this other thing, but I don't know if it was straight up plagiarism or anything. If it was just another series about talking hands, unless the story itself was ripped. But hi, so pretend Detective Wendigoon here. I've done some research online, and I'm pretty sure I know what happened, why I, and likely some of you, remember a different version of the story than the one we just read. And all of this is just like offhand research I've done within a couple hours, so if I'm wrong about any of this, feel free to correct me in the comments below. So as mentioned earlier, Camden Lamont is the original author of the 1999 story. He posted the story to his personal blog on November the 14th of 2009. Again, with subsequent updates coming out on the dates listed within this episode. However, it seems that Lamont wasn't really aware of creepypasta culture or of people, copy and pasting horror stories around the internet. So he just posted the horror story as his own project to his personal blog, and that'll be the personal blog that we link in the description of this video, so that way any traffic from this goes to the original creator. But it seems that after he had posted his story, people were taking that story and posting it to creepypasta boards without crediting him. Not only that, but they were adding their own additions to the story. And one of these additions is the talking hand show known as Booby that I mentioned a moment ago, which in itself is just a parody of an actual talking hand show called Ooby. Not only that, but one of the people who copied the story over to a creepypasta forum added an extra episode of Paint with the Soul that was a 1-for-1 copy of an Alan tutorial video, a popular YouTube ARG. In the following years, since the majority of people's interaction with the 1999 story was either through the creepypasta forums or through creepypasta YouTubers, everyone assumed these additions to be part of the original author's story. So when people started to recognize that Booby was just a low-effort copy of Ooby, and that the Paint with the Soul episode around Alan Tutorial was straight-up plagiarism, they started to accuse the original author, Camden Lamont, of being the one to copy those stories for his own work. But like I said, Camden never put those into the story. It's the people who ripped his story and then re-uploaded it who added the not authentic parts. This also led to a lot of drama in creepypasta communities around 2018 because Camden, who wasn't aware that any of this was going on, found out that all of it was going on at once and started to take down versions of the story that, again, stole his story and then added parts that made it seem like he was copying someone else's work. But people who didn't know the full story of that just assumed Camden didn't want people to talk about his plagiarism, which again, he never actually did. So Camden received a lot of hate because people thought he just stole other people's stories and then was trying to hide the evidence. So the version that we read today is Camden's original work as he originally wrote it, and all the stuff about plagiarism and whatnot are from people who ripped his story in the first place. Again, link to his original blog post in the description, and if I got any of this wrong, please let me know.
1999, it was rad. I mean, very, very rad. I know people have requested this one in the showers, so maybe we'll hit the showers next. Or
kind of makes up for them requesting the thing in the basement.
I'm still, whatever they requested is not our fault, is all I have to say. And this one was luckily a strong one. I think it's awesome. Just a lot of cool influences in there, and it's interesting to see these kind of internet stories and how they, inspire each other, and it's cool, man. I'm stoked on it.
Yeah, me too.
But without further ado, that was 1999, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we request just be sure to listen to this on audio platforms if you can, and review, or give us a nice little thumbs up or a 5-star rating. And also, if you have any story suggestions, please be sure to leave them down below. We do look at that, and we look at all the funny little fan edits as well. It makes, like I said, belly jiggling. It's very, very nice. I'm actually going to go clean my shorts because of the Elgato box dropping. That really that got me pretty bad. It is a stinky mess in my pants right now from that, and I am still shaking.
That's what you get.
It is what I get. I feel bad. But without further ado, thank you so much for watching Creepcast, and we will see you in the next one.
See you in the next one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.